All right, hello and welcome. This is Eric from Onboard Gaming. We are here with another episode of the Warmaster Challenge. And I just wanted to introduce all of you fine people to what the Warmaster Challenge is. It is a best of 3 competition, and here is how you sign up. We got the QR code on the screen right there. You can just scan that with your phone. We'll go to the form where you can sign up. And here's how it works. You sign up to fight on our form. We use our very highly sophisticated scientific method of choosing challengers by throwing darts at a board. The challengers will come in here, go on live stream, and fight. The winner then is chosen, or then moves on to the next round, where we choose new challengers to fight. And then if you win, you become the Warmaster. Now, we've been doing this for a while here, and we have only had one actual Warmaster. This is a very difficult competition. And tonight, we have got a great game for you. Tonight, I've got Steven from XBZ here.
What's going on, guys?
And we've got some great challengers. So last week or 2 weeks ago, we had Daniel here, was able to bring a win out with his Nurgle, fielding Be'lakor. First time we've seen him here. So that was a real interesting match against the Ares meta of the Custodes with Nick Hierman. And today we've got Junior. Say hi, Junior.
Hello.
From Team Zero Comp.
Cool. Yeah, so welcome, guys. So this is going to be a good competitive match here. Like I said, we've got Daniel from Dicehammer, a pretty accomplished player. Junior comes without explanation. If you play in Southern California, you know who he is. So let's give it up. Junior's bringing his Blood Angels here. Junior selected Scorched Earth for his mission. So, Junior, we got you here. What's your thought process? What are you kind of thinking when you were like, Scorched Earth's what I want to play against this particular army? Let us know kind of some of your tactical thoughts and your strategy going into this.
Yeah, so Scorched Earth, I wanted to bring in something that had a lot of objectives. So 6 objectives, really thin out a Nurgle army. They like to bubble up and cluster up and move in a little brick. So something like this where it spreads out the objectives makes him, commit some of his forces to a different section than maybe he wouldn't want to normally. And then Blood Angels are fast enough. I should be able to pick them off on the sides. And that's
it makes a lot of sense. I like it. Yeah, you're going to kind of get him to overextend where you can and hope that he actually is a little overconfident. And then, we know Blood Angels could take the head off of anything in melee. You're able to capitalize on that, and you even have some decent shooting in your list as well. So yeah, it seems like the pick makes sense. 6 objectives. Your list is small and elite, and you know how to run it really well. So I totally agree with that. Now, so Scorched Earth here. We know that you've got a mobile army. We know that we've got a lot of objectives. We want to spread them out. So falling in line with that, as far as your secondary choices, what are you thinking here? How is it going to fall in line with your battle plan? We've got Raised Banners, we've got Stranglehold, and we've got Oaths. Talk us through those and your thought process of how those are going to be successful in this mission against this opponent.
Yeah, so with Banners, for instance, there's 2 objectives already in my deployment zone. Death Guard and his demon lists are kind of slow, so I don't foresee him getting all the way to the other side to remove a banner. So that's at least an easy 10 points, in my opinion, when you're talking about secondaries. If I get a middle objective for a turn or 2 or at the end of the game, then I have a chance to max it out. Stranglehold, same idea, where I'm already holding 2 objectives. I just got to make a play for a 3rd one and then shoot him off a 4th. That way, at scoring at the end of my turn, I should be able to get Stranglehold, 3 to 4 times. If I get it 5 times, great.
Yeah.
But 3 to 4, and as long as I stop him from scoring it a couple of times, since he chose it, then that's my goal with Stranglehold. And then Oaths, it's just a good old, 20 points possible for Space Marines. Just be in the center. Don't fall back. My units are small enough to where I'm never going to fall back. They're probably just going to die. And then kill a character or a vehicle. He's got characters. He's got vehicles to get a point. So.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. I think the Banners logic makes absolute sense. Death Guard, the one thing about Death Guard is they're slow. They are slow. So that's true. That the wisdom there makes complete sense. And Stranglehold, the cool thing about Stranglehold, let's talk about this, how it falls in line with what you were already talking about with your mission pick and how your army plays into this matchup anyways, because you're going to want him to extend. He's going to be thinking about Stranglehold. You're going to be thinking about it. And with you being the one with mobility, it makes a lot of sense that you're going to be able to dictate and essentially just kick him off of 1 and score that every turn, which I love it. And then Oaths is great. We know that. Oaths is great into any matchup. It's a good one. And you can bank on 8 to 12 points there pretty easy every game as a Marine. I like it. Sweet. Okay. So the battle plan seems strong, obviously, and I like where you're going with it. It makes sense to me. What do you think are going to be some real defining things in this matchup? And let's first, before we get ahead of that, let's talk about our list a little bit. Just briefly run down. We don't got to talk about war gear. We don't got to talk about that stuff. Most of the people watching and all of our chat people know what we're looking at. But let's just walk down your list just real quick and kind of talk about what you include in it and if there's anything different for this particular matchup that you brought.
Yeah. So this is pretty much the same archetype list I've brought to the last few majors, GTs. A couple of different tweaks. I eliminated one of my Blade Guard squads, brought in a Whirlwind for possible fight last. If I'm charging Be'lakor, I don't want him swinging on me, so I want to swing on him as much as I can before he just eliminates my units by touching them. Mm-hmm. So the Whirlwind's a nice touch. I brought it against Logan over the week, previously during the week, and it worked out pretty well, shooting off things off objectives and whatnot. So it's just a nice little artillery piece. The Sandguards are all seven-man units. Now I used to have 5, but I just dropped it. I just dropped it to 2 7-man units so I can get more attacks on the charge. So it's just more efficient that way. When I had 5-man units, they would bounce off of things. Contemptors are still there. There's 2 of them. No hot Carls. So I just keep the points cheap, 150. Then you got your classic, healer, sanguinary priest, primaris chaplain, and then the captain that gives everybody OBSEC.
Cool. Yeah, seems like the straightforward, the junior Blood Angel build. It's actually provided you a lot of success through this season of ITC. It makes sense. I love what you're saying about the Sanguinary Guard. I could see that 5 dudes just doesn't quite do enough to where the 7 dudes makes more sense. I like that. Why no rockets? Just keeping them cheap.
Just keeping them cheap.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to. The rockets are 25 points each. So that's another 50-point investments. Blood Angels got hit hard in the FAQ with point increases. So we have to eliminate certain things, and the Carls are the first thing to go.
Right, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, the list makes sense. And then, my last real question for you, Junior, before we let you get to it, is kind of what kind of things are you foreseeing that might be problematic in this matchup? And what are the kind of things that you think are going to really dictate a victory for you?
Yeah, so how I handle Be'lakor, I believe, is going to be huge. If the Be'lakor gets into my characters, they're auto dead. So I really need to get the fight last on him and then charge him with at least a Sanguinary Guard unit and a character in order to take him out. His other Death Shrouds, I'm going to have to whittle him away with my Plasma Scepters. So that's going to be one of the things I'm going to, my goals. And, of course, the Poxwalkers, taking out as many as I can, turn 1 and 2 with the Volkites. So just eliminate as much as possible, take away his OBSEC. He's probably going to put his Nurglings out in front on objectives. So I should be able to get a first turn charge, but I'm not going to commit something like I'm trying not to commit something like a Sandguard unit to him because I don't want to get countercharged by Death Shroud or Be'lakor. So if I can take him out with, just infiltrators, or I'll just throw out a Blade Guard unit, something like that, make him commit his fighting units first.
Cool. Yeah, I love it, dude. It sounds like you. Obviously, it sounds like you know the matchup. Sounds like you know what you're doing, man. And it's going to be a solid battle, dude.
Yeah,
this is going to be good. All right, Junior. Well, hey, pleasure to have you. Good luck on the interview, and then we'll see if everything goes out the way you anticipated.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
The couch is kind of sticky.
All right, he's going to go grab Daniel, and we will have his interview here in just a moment.
Yeah, interesting matchup. I really do like what I'm hearing from his game plan. I mean, it does seem like he's able to call a lot of the shots that he's going for, and it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense on his battle plan. I think that what he's doing is it makes he knows the matchup. And a lot of the things are very key to Death Guard and the victory there. You got to take out their Poxwalkers because that's their ability to control the board. He also is kind of anticipating people using that infiltrator. Mischief Maker's ability to deploy those Nurglings out there, and he's right. That does become a charge anchor and a movement. A slingshot kind of. It can be one of the things with Nurglings that can actually be an issue with people. or a downfall rather than a help. You think you want to be out there on the board and taking over as much of the board to force movement. What you can just give a player that's playing Blood Angels or White Scars, you can just give them a ton of movement, and then you're like, oh no, why did I do that? That was so dumb. Yeah. So that's a big thing to think about. And then I think that he's right. Be'lakor is a problem. It's one thing that can really just murder anything that Blood Angels have. Now I do believe that Be'lakor's the easiest way to kill Be'lakor is just to hit him in combat, because a lot of his defensive buffs are from range. So he's -1 to hit from range. He's -1 to wound from range. He's got the 4-up invuln. There's no rerolls to hit at range, but half of that goes away in melee. He's just -1 to hit in melee. He doesn't have the no rerolls. He doesn't have the -1 to wound. It's pretty much just a T7 dude with a 4-up invuln.
So he basically wants to absorb a lot of ranged fire, get in there, murder something in close combat, and then leave.
Not get hit. Yes, and not get hit. Yeah, because he will die. I mean, that's one of those things that you'll notice about him. You get comfortable there, but he's very offensive. But on the return, you got to really be careful. So I'm curious to see how that's here. And we've got our reigning, defending, undisputed challenger for the Warmaster Challenge, Daniel from Dicehammer. What's up, Daniel?
How's it going, Steven?
It's going all right. So back at it. We're looking at your second defense here. How you feeling?
It's certainly filling up to the pressure. It's last time I had my second round, it was Mr. Logan, and we all know how that went.
This is your second attempt at the Warmaster Challenge. Got you. Okay.
Something about history repeating itself, but hopefully not.
Gotcha.
I've played Junior a few times. I know how his list runs. I think I got a shot at doing this right. But I think we're going to have a good, clean game. Junior is an excellent player, as I'm sure all of us know. But I would really like to put that to the test.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about it. He's picked Scorched Earth. So interesting pick. What are you kind of feeling from that? Why do you think that he'd select, for our viewers that don't understand, the challenger in the Warmaster Challenge gets to select the mission, essentially the battlefield, and the defending player is at that, has to win on their terms. So with Scorched Earth being the mission, Daniel, what are you kind of feeling? Why would you think he would pick that? And what are you kind of thinking? How does your battle plan change based on that?
Okay, so I think the reason why Junior picked Scorched Earth, I believe we actually played this match in Reno. So maybe it's a rematch there. But also, this map is really good because it has 6 objectives, hold 1, hold 2. That is excellent for banners. That is excellent for stranglehold. That is excellent for engage. Junior has a lot of mobility. He has a lot of punching power. I think what he decided to do is try and spread me out rather than try and take something like battle lines where he's going to funnel me down into 2 objectives. And we know with a list like I have, I'll win that fight. They'll Sangard will punch once, and then they won't punch again. And I think in this mission, he's going to try and use his mobility with those Sangard to try and push me off of key objectives and control those 4 throughout the entire game. I think that's actually going to be my strategy as well. So I think in this case, my key strategy is to use those Nurglings correctly. Some stuff is going to go in Strategic Reserve today. We're going to try and keep them out of line of sight of that Whirlwind, just so that we don't make sure we don't have any bad stuff there. But it's really going to be about mobility and finding out exactly where Be'lakor goes, where the big Death Shroud bomb goes, and just trying to figure out what works best.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think it's a decent assessment. And so you think that your answer to what he's doing to you is to hit him with the same thing.
Exactly.
Taste of his own medicine. That's what you're feeling.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. So with that in mind, and we're talking about Scorched Earth and how your game plan is different, what are you feeling for your secondaries? Your secondary choices are you're taking banners, you're taking Stranglehold, and the only difference between what you and Junior are taking is you're taking Assassinate. So talk us through those one at a time, and how do you think they're going to play to your advantage and help you win this game?
Okay, so I think I was thinking about this last night, and it kind of had an epiphany, and I realized that he's going to have to come after me eventually. If we're going to trade units back and forth, my Contemptors can outshoot him. I can definitely kill a lot of things that I need to kill. And my idea with my secondaries is you have to come to me. You have to deal with what I have on my side of the board. You have to take my objectives. You have to get super close. I thought about taking Mental Interrogation, but having Be'lakor do that is very, very difficult. So I said, you know what, let's take Assassinate instead. Because if those characters want to come play, they're going to be giving up points. So the idea here is if he wants to be aggressive and take my side of the board, I'm going to rack up secondaries because he wants to do that. I think it's going to be tough for him to push me off of my objectives. But, we'll see. So that's kind of the idea here, and I just want to see if I can out-attrition him.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a very Death Guard Nurgle-ish thing to do. You know what I'm saying? So that makes sense. Okay. Perfect. I mean, the battle plan makes sense. Adapting to his pick of Scorched Earth makes sense. Talk us through real quickly list changes. I mean, have you changed your list in any way for anything you might have predicted might be coming your way? We don't need like war gear or any crazy amount of stuff, but I mean, just paraphrase real quick for our guys in chat. Any changes and any meaningful things that you felt like you needed to swap here in order to better facilitate a victory against Blood Angels?
So I thought about building a list specifically to fight Blood Angels, but I realized that I don't think Junior's going to do that. So I just wanted to take the exact same list that I brought last time. Nothing has changed. This is my tournament list. This is my team tournament list. It does very well, and except if you're MSU Sisters or Deathwing, with a different story. But it plays the board well. I score well, and I just said, you know what? Let's just run it again and see how it goes. I'm very confident in this list. Lots of reps. I don't feel like it needed to be changed, even for even for the mission or who I was going to fight. And it's if I come out on top today, it's going to be a very good day for me, and I can tell certain people named Keith to go pack sand.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense, and I think that's a cool, honorable thing to do. I mean, in Warmaster Challenge, you do have the ability to adjust your list based on what you anticipate. Now, the funny thing is both players have to submit their lists before they get to see the other person's list. So that anticipation and skewing could come full circle, or it could not, which is a really cool tactical thing as well. But I think that against a high-level competitive player, well, both of these players are very accomplished high-level players. I think in this case it makes more sense to circumvent or forego any of that gimmicky stuff there and just play your best game with your best list. I like that. Okay, final question for you, Daniel. You know the terms, you know the battlefield, you know what you guys are both kind of doing here. What do you think are going to be the major keys for you to win here? And what do you think are going to be the major crucial points of this battle that are going to help you either succeed or fail?
I think the biggest thing for me is I need to figure out where the best place is to put my big Death Shroud bomb. I think that they either need to be on the right side or they need to be on the left side. And the Be'lakor needs to be on the exact opposite. It needs to be evenly spread out. And I think that it's going to be that as well as when and what my strategic reserves are and when they come in. I think with that Whirlwind, my Pocketwalker units are going to be a really big threat first turn. Because if he goes first, he's probably going to wipe a squad or at least get it down to half. And I need to figure out exactly what I'm going to do for that. I haven't completely figured it out, but I think we're going to start with at least one unit of Poxwalkers in reserve. Keep one on the board to say, hey, if you want to shoot it, go ahead. That way you don't shoot the Furies. But, we'll see.
Yeah.
I think that it's really going to come down to positioning, and we'll see.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it makes sense. I think that it makes sense. Mitigating what's going to hit you in the early game and the pieces of your army that can be taken from you before the mission even gets to start or the battle gets to start. It makes sense. Well, Daniel, man, he's up for number 2 here. Best of luck with you. You got some people in chat rooting for you. So give them hell, man.
Yeah. Thank you, Sideways. TA Be'lakor. Let's go.
All right, Daniel. Good luck.
Thank you.
Right on, guys. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting match. It's going to be a good, hard fight here. Interestingly enough, now that they're both not in here, I love the contrasting opinion on the Whirlwind. Junior's bringing it specifically as a shutdown mechanism for Be'lakor.
Right.
And Daniel perceived it as a threat to his squishy, soft, large man units because of the blast. Super funny there. I wonder if he's going to get broadsided by what the real reason for bringing the Whirlwind is.
Yeah, I think that's going to be kind of important here because if Daniel does put a lot of effort into defending his squishy stuff, not realizing that the real impact it's going to have on Be'lakor there, that could put him in just a really tough situation later if he's trying to line up a charge or something else.
Yeah, or just, like when you deploy based on the idea of a person using something a certain way, and then they completely change the game plan,
right.
It's kind of going to catch you in a weird position. So I'm curious to see how that works. They both have 4 CP starting. They both essentially have the same secondaries, except I think Junior's got the advantage here because Odes a Moment is great. Odes a Moment is always a very versatile, very solid secondary that really just everything that you do in a game of Warhammer 40K, you can score some of it on on oaths. You control the board somewhat, you're going to get points on oaths. You kill some key units of theirs, you're going to get points on oaths. You hold it down and you don't fall back, or you don't fail leadership, which you want to do anyways, and it's hard to do as Marines. You get points, so you're just getting points for basic things you're kind of doing already.
Yeah. No, I mean that's definitely a good one. I see that taken a lot. In this situation, I wonder though, because he's going to have to post up in the center of the board there, in order to score a majority of those points, if that's going to help Daniel just as far as tactical planning. Because I mean, he can leap. You can't see it from this angle here. Let me switch real quick. So those crates are 2 units high. So basically, he can flip Bellicor straight across those using fly, and then smash something that's just sitting in the middle. So depending on what Junior puts there, we'll see how effective that might be.
Make sure y'all subscribe to my OnlyFans.
Yeah, there's no more sexual content after October.
No more hot tub streams.
Yeah.
Alrighty, they're getting set. Let's see what's going on. So,
ready to go.
to all our viewers right now, let's get a little assessment here. I wonder what you guys think. Who do you think is going to take this down? How do you think this game's going to go? Give us some answers in the chat. Do you think Daniel's going to take it down, or do you think that Junior's plan here is going to take him to success? What do you think? I'm curious. What do you think, Eric?
I mean, this is a really hard one because I think Junior's got a super solid plan here, but so does Daniel. When you have 2 high skilled players going against each other, is it going to come down to dice rolls? Is it going to come down to a tactical decision on 2 or 3 that just really flips the game in favor of one player or the other? It's just really hard to say right now, and I'm really curious to see how they deploy on this, because I think that's going to also dictate how at least turn 1 and 2 are going to go out. Junior's got the movement advantage. Daniel potentially has a ability to absorb damage advantage. Bellicor's a big unknown here. Is he going to fly in and start absolutely disintegrating units, or is he going to get trapped somewhere and just get punched out by a bunch of sanguinary guard? It's just a lot of moving parts in both of these.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think that we're going to see they both have 2 contemptors with twin Volkites. I think they're both going to respect that. I think we're going to see a hidden deployment. Like everyone's going to be completely hidden, and then I think we're going to see what happens and how it comes out. So interesting. One thing is to note: the Death Guard contemptors are much better than a standard contemptor, but it will be Dev Doctrine for Junior, so he does get AP on those. So the first turn, the AP on those Volkite contemptors for the Loyalists is going to be awesome. Exploding 6s and the Tallyman Aura are awesome for the contemptor, and the rerolls that he gets as well. It's just nobody really can hold it down more than Death Guard with the contemptors.
Yeah, and Daniel did call that out. If it comes down to just a shooting game where you've got contemptors on both sides of the board shooting at each other, and Daniel's going to win that one. So, yeah.
Well, I was kind of, he said that, and I kind of had to bite my tongue because we also got to think about this. Junior is bringing Plasma Scepters, which even just 3 of them, that's a ton of shots. And he's got Poxwalkers and all sorts of things like that. And then also he's got Eradicators. So, I mean, Terminators don't like to see Melta. Even Death Guard Terminators. So I'm like, he said that, and I'm like, I wonder, because all that I really remember Daniel's list having for shooting is the contemptors. Once those go away, what are we looking at? Poxwalkers, Death Shrouds with Flamers,
right?
Stuff like that. So I mean, it isn't just a contemptor off. So I was kind of like, ooh, that's an interesting assessment. I wonder if it's on the money or not, because your contemptors will do more damage.
Yep.
But the Gravis is there with jetpacks, able to bounce around, deep strike in. When you got a veteran player like Junior, using those units like a scalpel in certain ways. Mm-hmm. We're looking at some liabilities there. I'd love to see if Junior. He probably outflanked his Eradicators. Most people do. You bring them in strategic reserve. They pop in on a board edge and just blap something.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's probably going to be looking for that Terminator bomb. I would think.
Absolutely.
So when those Death Shrouds are committed, then here comes the Eradicators, multi-melted for days. So
that is true. I mean, there's some tactical moves that Daniel can do to try and keep the Death Shroud away from that. Because there's I'm not going to say limited, but somewhat limited options for the Eliminators to come in, just because they're coming in through reserves and not doing traditional deep strike.
Right, he's going to have to be aware.
Yeah. There is a lot of line of sight blocking terrain on the table right now. I'm going to change camera angles real quick so the viewers can see. Kind of missing a bit of the table there, but like I said, those crates are 2 units high. We've got the ruins there and some buildings that are all going to be blocking line of sight. So there's going to be a lot of options for Daniel to put that shroud down, or to put his big block of guys down and potentially at least limit where he's going to, where his risk is from the eliminators.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Plus, the other thing I was going to say, too, in these types of mission, as a really castly kind of army, sometimes it makes a lot of sense to actually move your big unit you don't really want to commit until you've seen a little bit of the battle unfold to a more central location, because then they have the versatility with a decent advance roll or a move and a charge. They can flex to either side where they're needed. But with the way this table is set up, you can't really do that. It forces you to commit, because those canisters, you can't just walk through them. You have to lose the movement to go up, and those are definitely 2 canisters high. Yeah. So to get up there and get back down, that's going to take you more than 1 turn, unless you're something like Bellicor.
Even advancing, it's going to take 2 turns to get up and down, unless you've got a huge amount of movement. And I've heard Pocketwalkers and Death Shrouds aren't very fast.
No, so it's like, dude, the thing is, he can't actually commit that stuff to the center, because if he does, it's there. And while maybe you're stopping oaths, but you're not scoring stranglehold points, you're not scoring primary,
right.
So stuff like that. So this one, you do really have to pick which side you're going to, which is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how both players perceive this and see which kind of way it's going to unfold. I mean, they're both going to commit either way, but Junior, keep in mind, his army has fly, so the canisters don't mean anything.
It's going to be huge for him right there in the center.
While Daniel is committed, and this is where Bellicor comes into play, because I think the biggest fear volume shooting is going to be rough too. Inceptors can hurt Bellicor. It's just going to take a lot, Contemptors can hurt Bellicor. I found that Contemptors are a pretty efficient thing into killing him. You're not wounding super easily and whatnot, but there's such a volume there that you're just going to press 4-up saves, and he's doing 2 damage a pop. So it's like Bellicor doesn't have a million wounds. Yeah,
the volume out of the Volkites is going to be big. The Plasma Scepters, if he only has 3 in a group, probably a little less risky, but there's still potential there.
Right, yeah, I mean, he's got 2d3, so what's he averaging? 3 to 4 shots per guy, so he's getting, 9 to 12 shots on Bellicor. He's going to hit some wound. So he's hitting on 4, so that is another good point. If you're going to shoot at Bellicor, then you really are receiving no penalty to advance and shoot anyways,
right?
Because they're assault weapons. So you can get into position. You're hitting on 4s, so you're going to hit, 5 of them ish, and then to wound, you're -1 to wound there, but they're strength 8 on a 7, so you're wounding on 4. It's just 4s. So
strength 8 though, if they overcharge, that's a little risky there if he doesn't have any reroll support.
Yeah, true, but he does have the bike captain, so he drives the bike captain around with the Rights of War. So
okay.
I mean, that's a real key element to this list.
Yeah.
That captain on the bike with Rights of War and Teeth of Terra is just a Swiss Army knife. He can kill things, he can reinforce objectives, he can give rerolls where they're necessary, and he's got the movement to really just get anywhere with the turbo boost. It's a really, really, really strong unit. It comes natively with the 4-up invuln save. He's on the Outrider bike or whatever, so he's got the T5. Super solid. It's going to be interesting. So I think Junior's mobility is completely spot on. I think with the way the central stuff is set up without any breachable stuff in the middle, it's going to be real tricky for Daniel. Daniel is going to be more punished in the movement phase than Junior will be. However, if Daniel can implement or impose Bellicor on this in a more cagey way and keep him back to where he can't really get shot at by too much, and then when Junior has to force some stuff to the midboard, Bellicor's there with 12 inches of movement plus a charge to just kill it.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge.
Yeah, and Daniel talked about this a little bit when he was doing his interview, but the way his objectives are set up is you have to come to me, and so he can kind of be a little more defensive, I think, here, and Junior's going to need to get in there, and he doesn't have a lot. I mean, he's got respectable ranged firepower, but, I mean, not enough to clear off the entire army. So he's going to have to come out to score points, to get oaths, to get stranglehold. So
I think his perception is right, but one thing that had me kind of befuddled there and confused was if you do that and they both engage in the stare-off, then Junior just wins on oaths because they both get stranglehold, they both get the same banners, they both get the 2 objectives all game for primary, but then Junior just gets free points, passive points on oaths. And if Daniel does not kill the character the whole game, then Junior will just win. because it's passive. So I'm curious on
Yeah.
that. So I think the pick of something that's also not passive is a very interesting thing there, because now Daniel's forced to have to do something. Daniel has to kill characters. Otherwise, he will just lose, because if they both put up 2 banners, they both take Stranglehold every point in the game, and then Junior just does Space Marine stuff, which he's going to be doing anyways, then Junior just cruises to a narrow victory. You know, and I think that you know, Daniel is kind of really putting all of his chips in that Junior is going to come at him aggressively, and I think that it could be his whatever a witty, funny way to say downfall would be. It could be interesting. It depends on how the game unfolds. But that's one thing I noticed when they were both telling me their game plan and their army. I thought this could come down to the assassinate pick. It also could be won on the assassinate pick.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Steven. I mean, if Junior decides to purposefully keep those characters just away from everything, I mean, that's denying his entire primary right there. And yeah, the characters are strong. Yes, the characters are force multipliers, but does he need them to score oaths? No, not really.
No, so, you know, that's one of those things in those secondary picks. I think that, you know, Junior is taking a similar game plan to Daniel. You know, he's saying, hey, man, I just want to hold my side in the middle. And then you're trying, you know, and Daniel's trying to do a similar thing. I'm curious to see how that one works out.
I have this feeling that the Las Vegas team tournament is going to be super nuts competitive wise. I think both of our teams will do just fine. Hopefully we find each other. I thought it was kind of funny.
I think this is going to be the big deal right here. Just the center objective, or not objective, but the center of the board, because Junior has to put stuff there to score oaths. It's going to line up a good charge from Be'lakor, depending on where Daniel puts him. I don't know. We'll see how aggressive Junior is about just getting in there immediately or not.
He almost doesn't have to commit to the middle, though, because keep in mind, the middle's worth 2 points at the end of any given battle round. Oaths is better when you go second, because your opponent can't react to it. When you go first, your opponent gets their turn to shoot whatever you put in the middle out, or to try to make you take morale checks on something that might be susceptible to it. If you go second, the battle round ends when you end. So you could just park something in the middle. So that's a big deal. So the roll-off will matter. But also, you know, the middle, once again, if the game plays out in a cagey manner, Junior scores 5 points no matter what on Oaths, and Daniel scores 0 on on whatever. So I don't even think he needs to go to the middle. And then Be'lakor is going to be a big target that doesn't have a ton of obscuring in the center of the board. So that being said, Be'lakor is going to be under fire a lot of the matchup unless he's really hiding. So with that being said, you know, that's an assassinate, or that's a point for Oaths that's out there. You know, the Contemptors are going to be firing at each other. He's got the Eradicators. If the Eradicators get one beat on a Contemptor, that's a point for Oaths. You know, so just normal stuff that provides no consequence for Daniel to kill. Like, losing the Eradicators is no valuable interest to Junior's path to victory. However, if they do a little bit, that just falls into the Oaths game plan,
Right.
you know, and they just tick an extra victory point, and then if he gets 7 points, now Daniel's under the gun to have to kill all 3 characters.
Do you only have 3 of those banners?
Yeah, it looks like we do have the Contemptors down here.
I only expect to put up
They
3
are
of
lined
these.
up pretty much to
That's really funny.
kind of counter wherever Be'lakor decides he wants to go.
Let's just be real.
Yep, he's gonna walk up, and then he keeps the Whirlwind probably as far away from the from Be'lakor as possible, because that's the Be'lakor counter threat. Then the
Whirlwind is exactly opposite.
Yep. And then you've got so what's going to happen too is those Contemptors, you can walk up, toe tag that. You can't, now that terrain is not breachable, but you can still be within it or touch it to be count as in it, and then you can shoot through it. So, you know, you set them behind an obscuring ruin, and then you just walk up and, you know, step into the ruin. You're not trying to go through it or around it, but you just step into it, and then he can fire through it. So it kind of is a cool, cheeky little way to you know, use those Contemptors to really just bully the board.
Yeah, and it's hard to see on this angle, but both of those ruins are full of windows. So yeah, you just need to toe up into it, and you can see right through it.
The cool thing is with the way the canteens are in the middle, it's a little bit trickier. Like him committing both of those Contemptors to the left side.
That has been the
Ooh, let's see what's going on.
Double ones. And looks like Junior's taking it first.
So that's a good thing for Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel's going to take a little bit. Junior's shooting stuff, like his. I'm imagining the Eradicators. He didn't actually strategic reserve them. So the Eradicators are on the table. The Inceptors are not going to be aggressively shoved forward to shoot. He's not going to put him out there to die. So he's going to play a KG. And now Odes is in an advantageous situation for Daniel, because now anything Junior does, Daniel gets a chance to react to it before Odes are scored, which is good for Daniel.
Let's see here. All right, let's see. I will give.
Well, I think Junior actually has the. It's not his captain anymore. I think that is the bike chaplain, in his list. I've seen it two ways. Sometimes he likes to run the captain for the rights of war or rights of battle.
Let's go check his list real
check
quick. We
his
got captain on a bike
Right, and then does he have...
and chaplain on a bike. Yeah.
He's got both. Chaplain and a captain on a bike. Chaps and caps everywhere. Cool. Well, sweet. So he's getting his litanies. That's good, too. Canticle of Hate. A Blood Angel army with a bike chaplain with Canticles of Hate is really good, because he gets 20 inches of movement to reinforce anything that's about to charge, to give it that +2 aura of charging. So he can zip over next to something else that wants to charge. You know, hopefully you've positioned it correctly so that your company vets or some screening elements there, and you can just get it solid. To answer your chat, I believe there's just one unit of Poxwalkers in reserve from Daniel. So one thing for you guys to note, Junior's doing one thing that a lot of higher level players do, and it's one thing we kind of touched on a little bit last week. It's using your command phase. A lot of people just brush over the command phase quickly, or and it's one thing that Marines really kind of train you to do. But the highest level players, you'll notice that they'll use their command phase to map out your turn ahead of time. You'll look at the board state. You'll look at your opponent's forces. You'll look at yourself and what you have, your assets available, and you'll kind of at that point kind of just take a moment to assess and then map your turn out. You know, where a lot of other armies or a lot of people you play don't necessarily do that, and they'll use their movement phase to do that, and then you find yourself tripping over stuff, or you might make some incorrect movements, or you won't realize something till later. It's really important to just take a step back in your command phase before you tick your point up, before you do any of your other stuff, and just look at the board. Say, okay, you can probably do this. I need to be aware of that. Okay, these guys probably want to move here. What am I looking at? Okay, this is what I'm going to kind of base this turn on, and this is what I'm going to set up for my following turns. That's just one thing that you'll notice that the highest level players do outside of people that are playing at a moderate level or a middle level, is they really use that command phase to their advantage, and it's super important.
Most company vets aren't touching that.
So it looks like Junior did move his chaplain up, touching the point. Advance the sanguinary guard up as well.
This guy will just swoop around here. Still behind. Still behind. So we can maintain some coherence here. Alright, this thing.
It looks like Junior's trying to line up some shots against the Contemptors on the other side of the board there.
Within range. 45? Am I good?
Right there.
Okay, so I just need to go 1 inch forward.
Scoot your boot.
Dang, so he's going to take some long range shots. He's going to try to bomb it down, get some Volkite shots on the Contemptors. I believe that's what he has up there in the corner, right? Is it Contemptors that he has, or is it a drone?
Actually, I think that might be the drone.
So these guys have the full rerolls.
Either way, it's good. I mean, and he's also, the cool thing is he doesn't have to pop up and touch that. He doesn't have to pop up and touch that obscuring ruin, so he's actually relatively safe. That's a really safe defensive maneuver, which lets him, do a little damage and really mitigate the answer back.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Eric from OBG in chat, talking a lot.
Whoa.
Waddling up. Waddling up.
That's my name. What?
And of course, they can't shoot anything.
Just shoot my Nurglings.
Yeah.
Interesting thing to point out here too. Junior did call it. He said, "I think Daniel's going to put all of his Nurglings right out in the middle of the board, and he's going to see if he can exploit that and get some movement off of them." And sure enough, I think Daniel did. I think he might be looking to get some blade guard or something up there, and then now he's in a position where he's got to force Daniel to have to control those blade guard and not control his normal battle plan. You know, a lot of this game is about implementing your own battle plan and your own game plan on your opponent, and rather than playing their game. Super interesting. I think he was right on the money with that. We'll see how it goes. And then so he's already locked down his stranglehold. Daniel's on 0. He's going to be on his 3, so that's going to tick 3 points up for him there. It looks like he's probably using his characters to pop some banners up because he doesn't need the auras in the early turn. He's not charging. He's not getting that Blood Angel stuff going on.
Right.
So he's going to have his 2 banners up. He's going to tick that stranglehold, and then at the end of the battle round, he will get odes for 1 point. Probably.
Not him.
Unless he's got something in the middle.
Unless you cheat.
He doesn't.
Unless I cheat.
No, I don't think there's a way for him to get anything in the middle there.
No, not even any. Well,
Just gonna
yeah, and he's not really. He can't really commit those Sing Guard forward on a charge unless they advanced, because that would just be a little too greedy. They would die in the return.
Yeah. And that left side group, he did advance, I believe.
Yeah.
This turn, because you control 3 and 1.
Yep. And Whirlwind. You have no shooting that can hurt me. So let's just move him because he doesn't take a penalty anyway.
This is the same 8th edition.
There you go. Alright, let's start shooting.
All right.
All right, that's Junior's whole movement phase. He's getting ready to start popping some shots. Yeah, he's just really positioned himself correctly. The big thing is just being in a position to answer back for those midfield objectives. When somebody runs up and touches something, you have an answer for it, and you can get in there and just shred it.
So here's the first volley. Remember, I spent 1 for reroll wound. Up to 1.
9 T7s. Winning on 5s.
Winning on 5 anyway.
Hitting on 4s. Ooh.
Yep. Okay, look at that.
Start. Deathwood.
Okay, stick. Second one.
Oh man,
Yeah.
completely. Well, I mean, it's pretty inconsequential here, but he would like to get some damage on.
Yeah,
that
I mean, I was kind of expecting to land at least 2 or 4 wounds out of that, but
2 to 4. That was the forecast.
that was my expert mathematical analysis, was that there would be 2 unsaved wounds out of that.
Alrighty. All right, he's got some saves.
I take a wound plus the 2 mortals, so that'll be down to 6.
Oh, what is that? 4 wounds, like I predicted?
You are a weatherman. You are the weatherman of 40K.
I know you raised it.
Illustrate the banners though.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I couldn't do that one because
I'm a dick.
you're like, oh, I'm gonna put 1 on there.
So this is 7 inches away.
You're
From the
7.
blade guard. Yeah, I am. It's gonna be a 6 pure blindness.
6. 6.
Go.
Alright, and then I'll charge the other guys too because why not?
Unfailable because you have a +1.
So just like Junior said here, he was able to use the Nurglings to get into position, which is going to be really.
Your whirlwind didn't shoot.
Oh shit! Yeah, Whirlwind.
You want to put them there? It's fine.
Daniel, being the gentleman he is, pointed out that Junior completely forgot to shoot his whirlwind.
a
So
nice
he's
guy.
He's going to let him go ahead and fire. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you get to these types of games and stuff like that, especially at a competitive level, it's really easy to get overly competitive. But one thing is, it's a game. You're trying to have fun. Your opponent moved it and intended to shoot it. He wanted to,
Right.
So that's the point.
Damage one or the strength 6 one?
The strength 6.
It's 2d3.
D6.
Double check me for that, man.
Yeah.
I was looking at it in the Space Marine book. I'm pretty sure it's 2d3.
That's the one that's strength 7 minus 1 /2 damage.
Oh, okay.
I'm not taking that one.
You can just show me real quick. So I
Yeah,
just saw it. And then if we do LOS, so
I'll be minus 1 to hit.
I would say if you target this squad here, you won't be. So this one here,
Yeah.
you won't be.
So here you go.
Double checking some stats real quick, making sure that the whirlwind is on point. Being the unit that's used often in competitive play and littering the meta right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just double checking the firing profiles real quick.
Got it. All right, cool. Let's keep going. 9 shots. 9
On the high side of the 2d6 there for the shot volume, he's using the Castellan launcher.
Freeze. Dice are not working out well. 2s.
Hitting on 3s, you did manage to avoid some of the dense terrain right there in the center.
That's out. So 2 failed. 2 failed of pains. 1 dice.
They don't take leadership, right?
They do. So on a 6, that squad will fail.
Oh, is he firing into Furies, not Poxwalkers? That's what
Yeah.
he was firing into Poxwalkers. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. They can actually take the leadership checks. They can. There's more value shooting into them. That's an interesting thing. The Whirlwind's actually a really good tool against those units.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I gave him full rerolls. So 4, 4, and 5.
And the Eradicator's in the Assault Doctrine, right?
Yeah, you read? No.
Oh. But the Eradicator's in the Assault Doctrine. So 3s, reroll and everything.
So I think we just bumped ahead to the combat. We're fighting over here. He's beating down some Nurglings. Let's see if the Nurglings live, man. There's Nurglings can take some beatings and just stick around.
They can live a surprisingly long amount of time, but I don't know. Against Blood Angel melee, we'll see.
Depends on those 5-ups.
1, 2, 3. That's the squad.
Flat 2 damage each.
Instinctively trying to reach for the clock there. I'll try. No. So they're off.
Interestingly enough, he went for a CP reroll there, I believe, is what that was, trying to keep one alive. But if he
Yes.
kept one alive, I believe the other squad still had to attack there as well.
And these bros can activate.
I don't know why.
This way.
And they're just gonna hang out.
Okay.
They're gonna do this.
Yeah. Cool. He's within 2, so you're good. Okay, so the end of your turn came with a failed all of these.
That's what I was kind of talking about with Nurglings. It's really easy to want to just throw them out there, and Junior called it. It was right on the money. Those things,
I'm doing a pretty good job.
he just crushed a unit, and
Yeah.
it was just really essentially for nothing. What the only thing that Nurgling unit did was stop the banner going up on that, because that unit could have walked up and ran up and put a banner down.
Right.
But since there was an obsec unit on it, he couldn't. But now Junior has kind of forced the scenario to where the Sandguard can still jump up and touch that objective later, and now Daniel's going to want to have to shoot the stuff off of that objective, or at least do something with it. I'm curious to see what happens in the mid board here.
Yeah.
Because
Command phase stuff.
maybe. Well, he has to deal with that, or at least something. But you have those characters down in the bottom left that are screened. I think there's company vets behind in the ruin.
There are, yeah.
You've got the Whirlwind, which is not going to die off that rear objective. So
No.
now he has to shoot all of that stuff off that objective to get Stranglehold.
But he can't.
He
He
can't?
doesn't have sufficient firepower,
No.
at least not from what I'm seeing here.
I mean, we'll see. Maybe. I mean, call me crazy, but
Well, no,
he-
I don't think he can hit it. So we got the Contemptors here, right? And then if he shoots straight across, even at optimal angles, he can hit that unit. Maybe hit these guys as well. But
now-
there's no way
yeah.
he can hit this captain.
And
There's
now we're
just
talking
not line of
about
sight.
storm shields in light cover, so 1-ups, 4-ups. We're talking about a screened chaplain on a bike and 5 Primaris Marines. So the thing is, those Nurglings did is kind of position him in a spot to where he kind of accidentally gave Junior the movement to really shut down his own Stranglehold.
Yep.
So let's see what Daniel will do. And then now with that, Junior's in an even better position to just chill.
Right.
Now Daniel's under the gun to have to do something. Now he has to assassinate and find a way to get Stranglehold.
Tempter's gun. His gun is sticking out this way. So if I went and touched this building, I would be able to see you. I also see your base. So we're gonna move them there. Command phase.
Both of them can see it.
I would probably safely say just one. If I like touched here and touched here, I could maybe see both. That's kind of a
Well, if you
stretch.
touched over here, then this thing will look like it.
I think.
Right?
I think if I touch.
So what Daniel's trying to line up here is try and toe in at the building and then draw line of sight against this Contemptor.
I don't think I'm going to try and throw both into them. I don't think that's a good call. I'm just going to go ahead. So he's going to take the +1. This one over here is just going to chill. The Poxwalkers will advance. Oh, and I need a leadership check on that, not Fury. So on a 6, they'll fail. They're good. Gets the LD6, and I lost 1.
Some of your dice are like.
Wow, leadership 6 on those Furies, huh?
Demons are low leadership. They're 6, 7 with a banner on almost all of their infantry. Their big stuff has a little bit better leadership, and a lot of their big stuff confers the ability to use their leadership for their small stuff. But yeah, he just uses them for action as an action unit. Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens here. Let's see how this unfolds. If he can drop a Contemptor this turn or do some decent damage, that's going to be a big deal because that means Be'lakor is a lot safer to come out.
Right.
You know, because that's going to be a thing, and I like that because if you take away his ability to affect the board at range, then now your ranged firepower can run rampant without an answer back. You know.
So given those two options, like, because we already discussed, he can potentially get line of sight over here against these Blade Guards, but Blade Guard are effectively resilient. I mean, they're resilient against just about everything. Or he can attempt to shoot out one of these Contemptors. You think the Contemptor's the better of those two options?
Yeah, I think you're faced with the ultimate thing, which I like to say is, you know, what your unit could do or what it should do. And what you could achieve if everything goes right and your dice rolls are high and everything goes exactly your way, you could maximize firepower and potentially get yourself Stranglehold. But statistically, you're probably not going to. So what you're going to say is that I think that it's much more likely to do 9 wounds to a Contemptor than it is to remove all of that stuff from that objective. And taking wounds down on the Contemptor are wounds the Apothecary can't heal and things like that. So it's just putting money in the bank. I think that is what the unit should do, as opposed to the things like looking at maximum bounty you could receive if everything goes right.
Yeah.
Ever closer.
Junior's positioning is great here. You know, he's mitigated firing lanes. He knows most of the shooting threat is over on the left-hand side. So if you notice, his army's kind of lean off to the right. Super important. You know, I mean, it's going to mitigate the fire coming back at him. He was able to exploit some things in the midboard, and I think that it's going to be an interesting spot here.
Okay, so
Got called out on the Nurglings.
there. That's the Putrefier, the Mortal Wound guy. And he's going to stay within 3 of the Death Shroud, but
So Daniel moved his drone up here. What do you figure the reasoning is for that? Is that a come get me, go charge this unit sort of thing? Or
I think he's going up there for a long charge. If that drone with the Fleshmoor gets in there, it's going to do some damage. That stuff there with the...
even against Blade Guard, really?
I mean, it'll do damage. It's not going to... It is -2, and it has a ton of attacks. It can drop a couple bodies. And then what it's going to do is stop the banner again. And also, it's disgustingly resilient. It's T7. There's some stratagem support on it. It's just going to be really rough to... it's going to be rough to do anything to it. None of that stuff's going to be able to do enough damage there. So...
what it's going to do is Contemptor with +1 to hit.
I mean, yeah, we'll see kind of what happens.
Oh, hey, look at that. So he's firing over here with the Contemptors.
Into the Blade Guard. Ooh. Okay. Do you want a transhuman?
Yeah, why not?
So Daniel's going to pop transhuman on those Blade Guard. He's going to, just weather some Contemptor fire. Money well spent, I think.
I really want to shoot anything else. The 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll pass.
It's no bueno.
It's a no good. So 2s, rerolling 1s.
So this is the Contemptor that's +1 to hit. So he's got twos rerolling his 1s, and then 4s, and he's gonna be fishing for them mortals.
Fours. Those are 6s though.
You kill the guy. I'm definitely taking this guy out.
You sure? So yeah, 3 mortals at the
Well, I gotta
end.
roll this.
Yeah, it's at the end. So 10 saves, AP0 because we're not Space Marines. 3 mortals at the end.
So he did 10 saves, and 3 of those saves are gonna also inflict mortals. So we'll see. That's a lot of saves from the one Contemptor.
That is. Ooh.
That's a dead Blade Guard unit.
Wow, that was.
Someone call on Wilson. Wow. Alright.
What did I roll? 4 1s? Hold on. I might want a CP one. If I CP one, then one
Fails
die.
4 saves and takes 3 mortal wounds in
Fail
addition.
leadership, potentially. Another LD8, right? So they can't
Yeah.
fail.
I'm gonna reroll one.
Okay.
Spend the CP.
Down to 2.
6.
So you have 1 left with
Yeah, so he thought about it for a minute there. He was assessing whether or not he wanted to re-roll to keep one guy alive. You know, and
Yeah.
I think it made some sense. You know, he can get over there or retreat that dude back to, you know, potentially start bringing him back with the Apothecary. He's
Yep.
only got that one unit that has any casualties. So, I mean, obviously it's an easy target for that.
The thing is, if I do shoot them,
But that was pretty decent. I mean, I wasn't expecting that amount of damage out of one Contemptor.
Dude, Death Guard Contemptors, man, +1
Yeah,
to hit,
right.
re-roll the 1s, fish for the
Quite good.
mortals, exploding shots. You know, they're solid.
Yeah, and even if Junior doesn't ultimately lose that model, I mean, its combat effectiveness is effectively very, very low at this point. But, you know, it can do actions, sit on points, it can be obnoxious.
Yeah. And it's also interesting to see, does the captain have rights of war, or is it the chaplain that Junior put it on for this particular match?
Well, let's check real
Because if the
fast.
chaplain has rights of war, then that one blade guard becomes instantly a lot more annoying. Because, you know,
So let's see here.
rights of war is on the captain.
Right,
So,
yeah.
yeah. Because
He's
I was like,
there.
dude, if the chaplain is giving that guy OBSEC, then I don't think Daniel's lost his Nurglings. He's only got the Poxwalkers on the far side. Nothing else has OBSEC to really cruise up there and take it from him. So it's like, dude, okay. I mean, he's probably got OBSEC on the other unit there as well, but still, it's like super hilarious because it's like that one dude is going to be all of a sudden a Storm Shield in cover with OBSEC.
Right.
You got to get rid of it.
So that was 2 dice.
yep. Good.
Come back in.
Good. Good. This weapon, dude. Alright. 1 dice.
And no mortal wounds.
Hooray.
Yeah, the other Contemptor Volley didn't do too many mortals there, which is good.
Unfortunate.
I feel like that's all that's fair in the world, you know. No one wants to see Junior just get wrecked by a bunch of mortals just in one spiked volley. That sucks so bad, especially when you're fighting against Contemptors and you just see that, you're like, dude.
+1, right? Yeah. You get +1 to charge? No. 11 inches. Alright.
So there we go. He was able to put a pretty good amount of heat on that objective, which is a pretty interesting thing. I still, you know, the issue here is, like we talked about, though, that one extra unit making it there stops the ability for him to clear that objective to get Stranglehold himself, because there will still be the captain there, and it will be contested. Actually, if he does contest it, though, then nobody will control it, so he will get Stranglehold. If he can wipe this whole unit. Oh, but
it
there's
gonna
the
be-
one Blade Guard.
Well, the one Blade Guard, though, is not on the point.
Oh, he's not? He kept it off to the side? Oh,
Yeah,
man.
he's off on the side there.
I get 1.
But like you said, if any of the other guys there, I mean, they're OBSEC, but the Fleshmower's not, right?
No, it's
So-
not. But the chaplain back there is also not. So what he has to do here, in essence, once again, it's a tall order. He has to kill all of those Marines right now. Now, I believe that Flesh Mower is throwing multi-damage, and it has a decent AP on it. It throws a lot of attacks. It does work in combat. Does it do enough work to remove these guys? I don't know. Maybe. I don't think it's statistically probable, but it can happen. I think more likely is Daniel's going to fall just short, and he's not going to lock down that
Yeah.
Stranglehold for himself.
That's 3.
Yeah, it takes out 3.
Leave the Sarge.
So
Boom.
he fails on a 5, right?
Just not quite enough.
Do me a favor and roll that 5 for me, so you don't get that 1 point.
If I get 5 when it counts. You roll 1s, Captain. You charge me, so 4s. 2.
I'm going to take 2 more wounds.
Sick. Okay.
Yep, and this is kind of just what we talked about, and I think this all boils down to that the positioning of those Nurglings. And this is gonna be the last time I bring that up, but but you know, all of those bodies were able to get there because of the charge anchor. You know, that one charge anchor brought all that stuff onto it, and now all of a sudden Daniel's 3 points behind on his stranglehold, which is like, man, you know.
All right, so that'll be no strangle this turn.
So you know I'm upset.
Every time I see something, hey Daniel, I'm upset.
I'm upset.
That's cool. Okay, so we're gonna update you for that. We're gonna update you.
And then this next turn is going to be an issue because the first turn is going to this first turn is some positioning, and now since both players have had a turn to move out, I think Junior is going to be able to put some damage down. You know, now I'm curious to see what happens. Although I think he's probably still going to remain pretty cagey here.
These axes all reroll to hit Chapter Master.
Do I get a CP? I do.
Do I get a CP? Yes.
I'll be at 4 command points.
Yeah, so Captain did give this unit Chapter Master rerolls.
That is the
which means-
captain. I thought it was the chaplain the whole time.
Oh yeah, the red one's
So
Captain.
then, yeah,
the chap is over here on the other bike.
Then all of that combat didn't even matter because that guy just reinforces what you need there. Because even if the mower won, it didn't have obsec. And yeah, so he gives them the rerolls, and then they go and just do the Emperor's work on that objective, and it's clear again.
Nurglings and a single Fury, so I have 1 obsec, but 2 bodies total.
So let's see what Junior scouts out here. You know, he's looking at he needs to kill the drone. I think he could probably do that with some Sanguinary Guard, but he's got to worry about being hit back by those Contemptors. So that's going to be an interesting play. He's also looking at how many bodies are on the other objective in order for him just to run up and tow on in order to take it for the easy Stranglehold. So he's mapping that out, kind of seeing what he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, this is an easy one. You can stay out of line of sight and kill that. Where else? Maybe get mid-board if he wants to get oaths, and then commit the other Sanguinary Guard. But he used the rerolls, so it's likely he's looking to destroy something. So yeah, target there. I don't really see anything else.
Yeah, I think now he might even be able to.
Range.
Yeah, he might even be able to commit his Contemptors a little more here, in order to do some damage off of that other objective over there, and then get the other Stranglehold, and then maybe he can throw that banner up in the following turn. So right now, Junior doesn't have to do too much overly aggressive because he's in a better position than Daniel is. You know, he scored something on all of his secondaries this round, and essentially put him ahead of Daniel in 2 secondaries of the 3. And even if the primary stays even right now, the pressure's on Daniel. I see he's running that. The only unit that's taking casualties, we're running back. We're bringing back some Blade Guard.
Might take him 2 turns to get in range, but that's where he's going.
Question. Do I reroll 1s to wound?
It worked out very well last time.
It certainly did. What's the toughness on these? Are 2s and 3s? So I just be rerolling 1s to wound against those things?
Yeah. You're already winning on 2s, so.
Yeah, might as well. So,
Okay. So back
down
down
to
to 1.
1 CP.
So Junior's going to pop back down to 1 CP and use the stratagem that allows him to reroll his 1s to wound. I believe it's a whirlwind stratagem that he's using it on.
I'm hoping I can mortal wound them to death. Let's move the priest.
You see,
3.
evolved. Instead of trying to melee them, you're trying to shoot them. Big brain.
Big brain things. So 3 plus 1, 4 plus 12 is 16.
Again. Very consistent.
Very consistent. Okay, 16 will get me here. Alright, what's that gonna do though? Well, I already did it, so it's just I can move. I think right there's the right move. These 12 will just weird because they're just gonna do things to this guy.
So he is going to commit the Sanguinary Guard up there to deal with that drone. Now, he knows he's going to receive a volley from that Contemptor. I think the Sanguinary Guard are pretty safe because one thing, the value that Contemptors get in shooting tapers off heavy against 2-up armor saves. That's where they're really not doing any damage. You're just hoping for a ton of mortals. And if he doesn't get a lot of those 6s, he's going to do nothing, which is huge. That let him clear his path. He's sequencing his movement correct so that he can get that Blade Guard back. He's going to hide him, but he'll set it up to where he's going to be able to start bringing that unit back to manipulate the board, and work towards his advantage. I think it's pretty solid here.
Those guys are going to be a pain over there.
Only a little bit. Mr. Captain Man.
Looks like Junior's measuring out,
We're not OPSEC anymore.
getting ready to slingshot that captain.
Right, so what he's going
Top
to do,
area.
what he's doing is he wants to maximize the ability of that Rites of War aura. So he's going to want that 6-inch aura of OPSEC so that it ensures that objective for him moving forward. But what he wants to also do is, in the case that those Sanguinary Guard are going to get shot down, his captain is hidden behind some cover, touching it. I don't believe has any windows. So he's going to really be safe is what he's doing. So let the aura of the captain, have its effect on the game, but also don't leave your character exposed, So I think it's solid. I think it's a good play.
Yeah, but is he as safe as he thinks he is?
Well, those Contemptors are going to have to, if those don't clear the Sanguinary Guard, what will?
That's true, but if he kills the captain, he gets assassinate points, which is
True, but what
something.
he's going to have to put, because those Sanguinary Guard have a 2-up save. So like I was saying, the Volkites don't do a lot into a 2-up save. You're just hoping your opponent can fail armor saves.
No, but
on
that's what I'm
ones.
saying. Depending how things go for the rest of the round here, those Contemptors can draw a beat on that captain and blast him instead of the Sanguinary Guard.
Right, but so they can. However, the Sanguinary Guard are prepping. They're going to charge right here. So they're going to go at this Flesh Mower drone, and he's going to use his Pile-In and Consolidate to put that captain within 3 for the Lookout Sir, to force him to have to deal with 14 2+ armor save wounds that might even end up in cover for the 1+. So I think that what's going to happen is he's setting up his movement for the future. He's going to move those Sanguinary Guard. Ideally, he gets them into the cover. He hopes the Volkites shoot at them.
Right.
And then they're not going to do anything. But now all 7 of those Sanguinary Guard have OBSEC. And now nothing that can run up there and touch it. The Death Shrouds aren't getting there. They move 5 inches. You could prey on a 12-inch charge. And it does happen sometimes. But they're just going to hang out back there. And then, so that's just going to mean he holds that Stranglehold down for another turn, depending on what he can do to that other objective. Oh.
From here?
And there we go. Now Death Shrouds are fitting to get melted.
There, so yeah.
Okay. So they're all within 18. I'm going to spend the 1 for a reroll. 1 plus 1 to hit.
Okay.
And shoot.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm going to shoot these guys into this thing.
Okay.
Some Angelus Bolt carbines going into the drone.
So while you're doing this, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So it says in the heroic intervention stuff you can move up to 3 or 6 inches, right, depending on what you're doing.
Right.
If you fly, can you ignore terrain?
No.
That was because I couldn't find that in the rulebook. And I know it's really
Yeah.
difficult.
It's a you can't ignore terrain, but and you also can't fly. It is not used in the heroic intervention.
Got it.
A lot of people also think that you can heroically intervene like this,
Yeah.
and you can't.
I know you can't heroic over models. I think you can only charge over models and move over models, and that's it, right?
Yep.
I also learned that heroic intervention, you have to heroic into the closest unit
Yeah.
as well. So a lot of people don't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, these Shrouds are about to
Shots.
eat a bunch of Eradicator shots.
And again,
These are so first thing we got going on is the Sanguinary Guard are shooting at the drone.
All right.
Yeah, trying to tag some little shots. Boom, right there.
what the hell? That's the second time.
want you to use these dice so that I have a chance.
4 and minus 2.
1 minus 2. 5s. This is out. So none so far.
He's died.
Because those are tactical weapons, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so do I explode? No?
He just
Kills him.
Angela's bolt carbine. I wonder if that might actually come back to hurt him, because now Mr. EP from OBG,
Good job, Daniel.
I know, right?
now he could probably shoot that captain.
Yeah.
Unless, he positioned the eradicators, because he's
I just want to make sure character protection. Just in case.
Yeah.
But did he?
they just confirmed it. He did.
Oh, they did? Okay.
They just put a tape measure to it. He did.
High level play.
Well, you know, according to some podcasts, California doesn't have a super competitive scene.
Because we're horrible at things.
Yeah. We're bad at everything else.
Jesus. Which is funny because, like, the people that say that are usually Texas people. And they suck. Yeah. Here we go.
Alrighty.
I sat there and I was like, you do realize, like, a lot of the top 50 ITC players are in California, right?
Yes.
Cool. Threes.
Alright.
Roll.
3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14.
So 12, 14.
14 wounds to roll here, man.
14, yes.
4 up and roll. 1, 2, and a dude.
Yeah, it is weird. 2 to do.
2 in the bush.
Alright. Let's shoot this back one. That's the Fury.
That was the first Contemptor. He was trying to clear off the Nurglings to that left-hand side objective, and now the second Contemptor, the one that's further to the right, is shooting at the Furies.
There's no point.
You don't want to do like trick shots, like 2 different guns?
No, because these guys don't have anything to shoot anyway.
Yeah. What do you think? 8 Volkite Culverins could kill here? Because you're rerolling ones to hit, right?
No, reroll ones. I didn't do the reroll
Oh,
ones.
that's right, you did. So you're hitting on 3s.
So,
Wait, is that right?
last
I
time
don't.
they didn't.
I thought that was the
You're right, you're right.
this over here.
So let's
Inceptors versus Death Route. No,
Oh, it was the Inceptors? Is that what it was?
I'm pretty sure that's what that was.
Gotcha.
And then now we've got
Oh, no, you did the plus
Contemptor
Yeah, you are at 1.
on this side going over here to the Furies.
I thought those were Eradicators, not the Inceptors.
I thought they were Eradicators initially.
Oh, yeah, they're totally Inceptors. So you got the scoreboard
Yeah.
blocking it for me. Okay, so the Inceptors shot there. Yeah, they were just taking out, doing some work on those Death Shrouds, and that's... You know what the sad thing about that is that those Inceptors are just going to kite those Death Shrouds the whole time and just kill them.
Right.
That's like...
It's nothing you can
It's
do
my
about
favorite
that
thing.
one.
That's why, I kind of have like a pretty negative opinion about that particular unit, just because I feel like at a high level, that's just a really one-dimensional unit that can be really avoided. And if Junior just kites these dudes around and shoots the heck out of them and makes sure that they never have any real impact on the game, that's going to be, an emphasis of that.
Plus 1 to wound.
These Nurglings here?
Yeah.
Cool.
Looks like those Furies are gone, yeah?
Wait, that doesn't matter. I'm only on 2s.
So I think that what might happen here, we'll see. Oh, no, those Sanguinary Guard are definitely primed to charge there. So I think he's going to throw them out front.
Team tournament, all those ideas.
Does he throw them out front? We'll see what he does with those. The leftmost Sanguinary Guard. Does he charge out and get his... They're going to hold down the Odes for him already, so I don't think he needs to really worry about Stranglehold. And just going YOLO like that and just getting a unit wiped to Bellicor. I think he just kind of hangs loose and just holds it down and gets his oath points there. And then they're positioned for the counter charge if Bellicor comes out. Depending on the distance for Bellicor. Bellicor could make that charge, it looks like, if he flies up 12 and makes the charge.
Yeah, Bellicor could potentially do that, but then you've got the Sangard here that come back and just kill Bellicor. So
Right, yeah, we'll see what's going on. But units are overlapping and covering each other. It just depends. I'm curious what Junior decides to do. Does he feel like it's necessary to get that 3 points on the...
Charges?
Oh, boom.
I have nothing to charge.
What a guy, man. Alrighty.
Oh wait, I got a whirlwind. The whirlwind's gonna shoot most things. Fuck, I keep forgetting about whirlwinds, man.
You never play with it.
No.
So there we go. So Junior's going to take another 3 for Strangle, another 2 for his banners. And then, yeah, he's going to get the 2 for Odes, unless Daniel can do something about it in the center. We'll see what goes on. we'll see what's going on here.
And I think this is kind of like you were saying earlier, Steven. At this point, because Junior's got the point lead, he can just camp where he's at.
Right, he doesn't have to do anything. It's on Daniel now to affect the game, which
Right.
means Daniel's going to have to make more aggressive plays. And if Daniel doesn't recognize that, it's going to be rough because he's going to get himself into a scenario where by turn 4 or 5, he's not going to be able to manipulate that.
Right.
You know, I think just on Odes, you know, I think against a list like this, a Marine list like this, taking something to bank on killing their characters is tricky, especially when you see Bodyguard in there and stuff like that. It's a real tricky thing to do. I almost think that maybe something like Engage might have been better, or Octarius Data or something. Well, Octarius you couldn't have taken if you wanted to do banners, but, you know, so...
But I got Stranglehold.
Yes, you got Stranglehold this turn as well. You'll be there.
Boom.
Do that. I will get 10 for that. I will get 3 for banners. I'm going to go ahead and go there.
So Daniel's going to tick up his 10 for primary for this turn for holding those rear 2. He was able to get a banner up on that mid-board objective over there, so he's going to take 3 on banners and take the lead on banners. Daniel has a decent CP lead here, so he is going to be able to pump some stuff up. We'll see kind of how it works. And yeah, we'll kind of see. I mean, the game is not by any means over. I just think that, you know, we're going to be at a really interesting development in the game. I think that Be'lakor has to come out and really be in the game. You can't keep him back there anymore. You know, even though he's looking at 2 Contemptors, you got to get him out there in the board.
Right. Even if he comes out and gets shot at by Contemptors, because of his buffs, he's going to be able to eat those shots a lot better than everything else. And right now, those Contemptors are just picking a target every turn and deleting them.
Right, and he does have one thing that he does have. I believe he took. Let's go to Daniel's list real quick. It depends on the spell selection. Did he take Betraying Shades or Paul of Despair for the spell loadout for Be'lakor? Did we see?
Betraying Shades.
So
and
that's really
Nurgle
good
Curse.
because Betraying Shades will pick 6 units, 6 models in a unit, which the Sanguinary Guard are 7. So you'll pick the Sergeant and 5 other. You take their attacks profile and you roll that many dice. And on all the 6s, they're going to take mortal wounds. Now, Sanguinary Guard have a lot of attacks. So you're going to throw a lot of dice. So you can start picking, and they only have 2 wounds apiece. So it's the perfect unit for that. And you skate right past their invulnerable save, or their armor save, because they don't have an invulnerable field now. So if he does it right, he can get Be'lakor up there, do some damage to that Sanguinary Guard unit, and then get up ahead and really, you know, be out there. And then, I mean, the other thing with Be'lakor is that when you play with him, you kind of also want to use him to where you don't want to be taking a full army's worth of fire, but you want your opponent to think that they got a good shot at killing him, so they invest more than a minuscule amount of firepower there and have it just get shrugged off, to where your opponent's like, oh no, I didn't do anything. That's one of the beauties of having Be'lakor, I think.
Did you see the predictive finish for our pod?
Well, Cooper always puts himself first.
I was like, Cooper, why?
Yeah. And Matt switched to Thousand Suns.
I don't know how I feel about that. 'Cause I felt like he was crushing it without me.
He just wants to try out new stuff.
I feel that.
Like, I would play Drukari if I had all my, if Frankie didn't take all my models. He took them for the team tournament. He's like, hey, I'm going to use these. I was like, all right.
Cool, bro. Thanks, Frankie.
I'll wait later on, I guess. So I had to buy all new stuff.
My friends borrowed my Hermes, so I bought everything else.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I had to buy more Raiders, like, because I only had 4. The list that we ran at the team tournament was pretty good, so
I would agree with that.
we decided to, like, 6 Raiders is good. Plus 6 Raiders is good against the new orcs. Have you fought them yet?
I reroll wins with this army, so like it doesn't new orcs. I just like crush them. Kind of.
Have you fought the shooting orcs?
It's the freebooters, right? I have not.
Cool.
And I think this list would just die to that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, you're MSU, I win. Yeah, Logan's been playing a lot of freebooters, and he just, oh, your space rolls, oh, I tabled you turn 2.
Yeah.
Oh, your death guard, tabled you turn 2.
We played
Yeah, a little bit of freebooter talk there. There's been a.
and
I've heard Logan's list recently, and man, that is just so much shooting.
Like, get it off the board. The thing is I don't like about freebooters is if you go against Dark Angels, you lose. Like, you're not going to be able to proc that plus 1. I just,
against like Terminators.
yeah, like Deathwing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you put like Deathwing on the table, there's no way.
I
team. I like Danny's Redemptors list, but I really think we should have a Dark Angels list with just like 20 Deathwing Terminators, because that list itself counters like half the men. Drukhari, Freebootas, Blood Angels, like Transhuman, like get fucked. It'd be interesting if maybe Chris brought out the Dark Angels. Because again, like if you run 30 Terminators like Joel's list from him for Battle for LA,
That's such a boring list to play.
it's boring, but it's like you'll never clock out. You're just gonna hang out and do banners, oaths, stubborn defiance.
So it looks like Daniel's bringing in the Poxwalkers up there in the corner.
Yeah, if you can get that long bomb charge off and really smack those Inceptors, that'll be huge, because that's going to be the Contemptors are committed all the way to the left, and then B, he can take away the one major threat to the Poxwalkers, because all those Inceptors are going to be dumping 18 shots that are hitting on 3s that he can make 2s, wounding on 2s.
And the Inceptors being the threat to the Shrouds and everything else. But, I mean, then he's going to immediately lose them all to the Sanguinary Guard.
Yeah, maybe all Junior really has to do is move block. I mean, he could get up there, and also he's gonna whirlwind him. If he can get the right movement with the Contemptor on the lower side of it, he can. Those Poxwalkers can go away quickly. The question is, what can they do? I'm curious to see.
Well, he's setting it up to get it on in here. So, are there any buffs to charge range for the Poxwalkers or anything? Or is he just really hoping to get that 9?
Just a YOLO 9. YOLO 9 with a CP reroll.
To answer chat, they are not playing on a clock.
So he's advancing Bellicor up there. That's pretty good. I mean, he's bringing him up there, and now he's threatening that other objective there. So interesting to see. I like the positioning on that.
Notice how none of my army jumps.
So my Radicators can shoot it now?
Yes, sir.
Alright. That's what we're about.
So what's he lining up here? Potentially going after Dreads, Chaplain, stuff back there.
Yeah, I think he's just going to really make a big move at that rear objective over there. Bellicor's in a pretty good counter position to deal with the Sanguinary Guard if they get there. However, Bellicor only has 6 attacks, so he's not going to kill 7 Sangard. However, he can fight twice if necessary, which would be an interesting thing. He can also he does have the Lord of Terror aura, so he's going to give a -1 to the leadership check on that Sanguinary Guard. So if he can kill 6 of them and make a -6 with a -1 to his leadership, he's a 7. He's only a 1. He passes on.
Okay.
So it's a good interest. It's an interesting thing there. Assuming he goes 100. 100%. I mean, even if he kills like 5. With the -1, it's like you killed 6. So, I mean, a 1 or a 2 is what he needs to stay, which means now it's majority in your favor.
Do you think Bellicor is going to be able to absorb the attacks from Sangard if they get all the way over here?
Unlikely.
Unlikely. Yeah.
He could, but he also degrades. So, unlikely. Do the Sanguinary Guard need to get over there to fight him? Maybe. I also hope that Daniel is aware that Chaplain is down there. He has Canticle of Hate. So if you thought it was going to be a long-range charge, the Chaplain zips up ahead with the Canticle of Hate to give the Sanguinary Guard the +2 to their charge range. So they move over their 12, and now they have +2 to the range that they need to charge. So if it's like a 9-inch charge or a 10-inch charge, it's going to be a much more achievable charge.
Yeah, you've got Eradicators down here too. I mean, they're going to be able to draw line of sight. I don't know how much of a threat they are. Maybe. It's Eradicators, right?
The thing is with Bellicor there, I mean, the Melta, when you're throwing low volume, high quality shots there and you have to get through all of that 4-up, you're hitting him on a 4. You're wounding him. You're wounding him on a 4 because your 3 goes to a 4. And then he's saving on a 4. So it's like 6 shots. That's a lot of 4s that have to get through that in order for you to do meaningful damage to him. And then you could just CP reroll if 1 or 2 fails, So, I mean, I think Eradicators are not the option for what you want to do into him. Unless unless you're doing it with the understanding that there's a really good chance that they're going to do a negligible amount of damage.
So we did get a deep strike down here, so we've got some shrouds ready to roll.
Oh, hold on. Some backfield shrouds, huh? That's a good position for them because now you put the sanguinary guard up there in a position to where it's like, you know.
Yeah, so where do you go? You go there.
Do you want to go forward? Do you want to go back? What are you doing?
I mean,
'Cause
does
you got-
that make sense to go after the captain? You know, which one is more beneficial?
Right. I still think that it's not going to be the biggest deal, but now it just makes Junior have to think about, you know, what he's going to do to hold down that backfield objective and keep his banner up.
Right.
You know, once again, though, I mean, it really depends a lot on what those poxwalkers are going to do, you know, and then also now he's got a few charges that he's need to make out of a 9-inch, you know, because those Inceptors will just jump back at, you know, a decent safe range and just blast those things, you know.
Yeah, if he doesn't hit him with the charge this round, there's no way he's going to be able to catch up with him.
Right, he
after
just drives the whirlwind toe touch on the far side of the objective. You know, Blade Guard are going to start coming back, you know, and then he jumps back there with Inceptors and shoots from a safe distance and just keeps doing it until there's no more Death Shroud. So, I mean, we'll see.
Rerolling ones. That's 3 hits. Reroll 6.
We'll see. It depends on how Daniel's game plan unfolds here. He does have a lot of threats on a lot of fronts now, which is a little bit better. He did have a really cagey first battle round, you know, so his turn 2 is opening up a little more.
Which one?
It was the back one.
All right, so we've got some shots going into the far back Contemptor, planking a couple wounds off of there.
Okay. And then 2, 4, 7, 8, 3.
That looked like was the missiles.
Yeah.
This is on 3s. Rerolling 1s. Well, less than just 6. Rerolling 1s. 1, 2, 3. Yep.
So if he's able to land maybe 2 or 3 unsaved wounds through here in combination with mortals on average, he should be able to take this Contemptor out.
Yeah, you know, I mean, Contemptors are surprisingly durable, man. 9 wounds with a -1 damage and a 5-up invul, and it's just like deceptively durable. It's
I
not like
forgot about the -1 damage. Yeah, he's gonna need to land more than
it's
that.
not the end of the world, you know, durable, but it's
Armor of Contempt? Yep.
Down to 0.
Oh, wait, no. Fuck. Do I care about it?
Got him.
I'll keep Armor of Contempt on my pocket.
In your pocket. You dropped your pocket.
Nice conversion there, actually. Just a 1-to-1 Contemptor to Contemptor, and it's able to take him out in a round. So
yeah.
not too bad.
All right. Concept number 2 will do the same thing to the other guy. We're just gonna
Right, yeah, that was a good Death Guard.
Twos.
I just have the efficiency that puts them a little over the edge. When they get the extra hits and the rerolls, it just puts them just that much, a little bit ahead of the curve from most other armies.
5, 6, 7, 8. 2s.
To answer chat, Contemptors do explode. He did roll it, and it did not.
So 1, 2, 3 extra shots.
Second volley, both volleys in a row, he's got 3 extra shots on it, which is pretty good. It's almost statistically perfect.
Five saves, 3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, pulls into 3 mortal wounds. I think that's pretty average.
5 less one I'm going through is bad.
So he did 4 wounds to the other one. So the other one's down to 5.
Right? So that's all that. Yeah, I think we're just going to have to do charges now. So we're going to charge here.
I will Overwatch that.
Okay.
That's what I kept my CP for.
So Junior elects to do Overwatch into the
Oh, on the Boxwalkers.
right.
I didn't think about that.
Yep. And there's 30 shots, so
Oof.
he's going to get 5 hits, give or take, unless he spikes, and those are probably going to be dead Poxwalkers.
And just reroll ones.
You're overcharging, right?
Obviously. It's the only way to live.
6 hits, 3s to live.
Comes in a little bit above average with 6 hits.
5 wounds.
5 wounds go through.
There you go.
3 die.
3 dead Poxwalkers.
That's not the worst.
Not the worst. Was it necessary? I don't know if I think it was necessary because
No?
Daniel fails it. Does he CP reroll it?
Probably the better call there. So we'll go again. This is rerolling the CP. Oh, I fail automatically. So down to 4.
So 2 shots at that 9 failed. I mean, he probably fails this other one down here as well.
Yeah,
Charge the whirlwind.
odds are not great.
No? Wow. Well, I think this is going to go.
With no CP reroll, I believe it's what 25% chance to make a 9-inch charge.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, it was a bunch of scenarios that was kind of tricky there. I don't know if I like where those death shroud are, because I think they're kind of exposed to the Inceptors.
I don't think that even matters at this point, because the let me see if I can get the thing here.
You think just avoid them, huh?
Well, the Inceptors can't. Oop, that's the wrong one.
Okay, so that's that. You will get 4 banners.
Inceptors shoot here, detonate all those guys. You can have Cap come around, attack there. You can have Sanguinary Guard come down here.
You
You've got
definitely- the
one guy that can walk up here and take that point, or whatever he needs to do there. You've got the Apothecary that can move around as well.
I think he just waits, honestly. Because I mean, if he just drives away, it's I think those Death Shroud back there can almost be avoided. It depends on what the exact range is on that charge to the Whirlwind. If it moves at its max to still hold that objective. I don't know. I don't know if 3 Death Shroud is still pretty gnarly. There is no Blight Spawn. There is no Fight Last stuff. So I mean, he probably wrecks house on a lot of them.
He needs to die.
Yeah, Junior's moving the Eradicators over to fire on Belly here. We'll
Yeah,
see how effective that is.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if it works out, it works out. He's safe back there behind the obscuring. I think you can almost guarantee that Bellacor's not going to jump back there and try to charge them.
I'm just saying, like, that's the most obscure thing. So if you wanted to move back, so you're trying to move back more, so I don't charge you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying, like, that's kind of your line of sight.
It wouldn't be the worst decision, though, at least.
To charge those?
So let's say Eradicators come out. They go around here to fire. He moves up. Charges, kills them, right? I don't think he's within 1 turn for the Sanguinary Guard to come back and kill him.
Right, but my question is now the Sanguinary Guard can go back and start wrecking house on your Contemptors. He kind of needs those to protect him, because if those Sanguinary Guard get back there, nothing in there will do anything to them in melee. They will just wreck through that whole entire shop back there.
But can they do that in 1 turn? Because with their movement, they've got a little bit of move block with these guys.
No, but they take its objective, so I mean that manipulates the primary. I think it's interesting. I think that would be way too bold to go out ahead and leave a unit of 7 Sanguinary Guard to just do their thing.
Do you think I think you're right. The Sanguinary Guard, can they absorb firepower from 2 Contemptors at close range?
Yeah, they have 2 up saves. 2 of them, do they live? Maybe not. But I mean, even if at this point, if think about the implications of making Daniel have a 5-point primary.
Yeah.
That's almost the
That
game
makes sense.
at that point. Well, actually, it wouldn't be a 5-point primary because those Nurglings up there. Yeah, maybe I don't know what the better call is. Let's see what Junior does here. I mean,
Because I have to target a unit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he's got 16 wounds.
16, T7.
to answer the chat, Be'lakor did nothing in the psychic phase. Yeah, the 2 spells that he has, I know one of them definitely needs line of sight for visibility. So I don't know if he had line of sight on anything.
No, I think where he's positioned, he's intentionally out of line of sight of everything.
That probably would have been a good call.
He wants Junior to have to move if he's going to actually shoot at him with the Contemptors or Eradicators.
But I think I have to kill Bellator.
I would agree with that. But I'd also disagree because I want him to live. You should be 19 inches away.
Are there any good defensive psychic powers for Be'lakor he can take? Or is it better just to take the offensive ones?
No, he does have one of the defensive powers. Daniel does. He has. It's called Paul of Despair. It goes off on a 7. Then you roll 3d6. If you exceed your opponent's leadership, keep in mind 3d6 average is a 9 or a 10. If you exceed your opponent's leadership, then you can choose one of 3 effects, and it's fight last, no auras, or no actions. So it's pretty good if something's if something is telegraphing that it's gonna hit Be'lakor, like those sanguinary guard, you can actually put a fight last, and then that's a real big like, oh no. Does he move the chaplain up there? Oh, I think he failed the litany, didn't he?
He did. So I'm not exactly sure what the distance is on this charge, but I'm going to guess it's probably around the 7-ish. And if it is, that's still a coin flip to get in there. Oh, no, +1 for Blood Angels, so the 6.
Right. And yep, here we go. Watch the Inceptors go backwards, shoot some Death Shroud.
Oh, yeah. He's like, those Poxwalkers are
This
not
is
fast enough to
exact-
do anything.
Yep, it doesn't matter. And the Sanguinary Guard can chill to counter them once they get closer. Or he can just wait, and just move them up and just crush all those dudes. Yep, so now all 3 of those Death Shroud go away. And then with those Sanguinary Guard in the center, he should be able to double charge here. Or just charge the Nurglings, kill the Nurglings. And then he's going to take Stranglehold again. Reduce Daniel down to a 10. And then start taking away Daniel's tools to be able to win the mission.
I mean, I got strength 3 flamers that'll tickle your butt.
So priest will jump over here to get
To answer chat, Chaplain failed his litanies. He was using the reroll charges one.
Raise banner?
Yep. Since you have nothing to stop me from bringing down a banner.
So yep, Junior's he's setting up that Stranglehold. He's popping a banner back up there in the midfield now, while he's gonna be taking down Daniels in the midfield, and yeah, get the stuff out of your backfield, and then let's see what he tries to do about Be'lakor. Throw the chaplain in there. I think bodying on in melee is the best way to kill Be'lakor. Honestly, like I said, he loses a lot of his durability, and a lot of those cool abilities don't work in melee.
I can't. There's no way. So
You're over my lane right now. If you moved here, you also wouldn't be shocking, so this way. But I think realistically, you're probably going to lose that dude anyway this turn.
yeah.
So it's just a matter of like,
Junior's really just kind of thinking about what he wants to do with that Contemptor. It's only got 5 wounds left. It's staring at much more efficient Contemptors. Does he want to try to get some shots on Be'lakor? Does he want to move it somewhere safer and kind of live to fight another day? He's kind of just mapping out what he wants to do here.
multi-charge here.
Yeah, the multi-charge there, so that should be good.
Is your fight last whirlwind ability 1 CP?
Yep.
So you're making Be'lakor fight last, so you're going to be able to fight for here first. That means you'll take that banner down. So they're very dead.
So, okay.
I think it's just a matter of yeah,
Yeah, just shooting your Volkite.
might as well, right?
Or
Unless you want to go.
how many wounds on that? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there's also Be'lakor. You could just you're winning on 6s, but every 6 to win is also just a mortal wound in addition. So it's kind of like there's some value there, you know.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, let's
Yeah, so Daniel's helping Junior line up the shot there for that Contemptor. Probably on average not doing a ton, but chip off a few wounds. Oh, no, he's moving it back.
Your company vets are still
they're still just hanging out.
banging back there. They want to get on the objective now, or
Yeah, they're gonna get on the objective.
yeah, they are.
Hang out on the objective.
Hang out, wing out. All right, cool. Shooting.
Shooting.
All right, moving on to the shooting phase.
Shoot all these guys right here.
Cool.
Soften
Scepter
them up.
bros.
See if I was smart enough to do this. So all these guys here. We'll shoot him first. Yeah, hits. Wounds.
AP?
AP minus 5.
Minus 5?
Yeah, I mean my assault doctor.
Is this a
Pistol.
Oh,
Infernal pistol.
damage?
D6 plus 2.
So on a 2 plus.
Of course I roll a 1. So 3 damage.
Hooray!
Goes down that. Alright, let's shoot these boys. Okay. 1, 2,
Shooting through the windows.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Who's your warlord?
This is my warlord.
You get +1,
So I
right?
get +1 and I reroll 1s.
You roll 1s. Who's 1?
My
And
guard.
the dice cam takes some mortal wounds, now pointing off to the side.
Yeah. Just 2.
AP 2? 1 damage, so 1 dice.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
1. But you got it.
I'll be right back. I'm going to fix that dice cam.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So not that great.
Number 3.
Oh, full reroll.
Overcharging?
Definitely overcharging.
Yeah. There's nothing good. Oh no. You pull 3 out.
No, full 2.
2 2? That's fine.
All right. Well, not perfectly aligned, but at least you can see the dice for the most part now. We'll have to fix that when the stream's over.
Got you with your pants down.
Alright, Whirlwind will
Bellicor.
Bellicor.
Okay.
And I have a 100 kilo missile. So let's shoot it. It's on a 4. Okay.
Is this a Bellicor? Can you see it?
Yeah. See his wings. Ooh.
Spicy.
But it doesn't matter. 7. Okay. Hitting on 4s. Oh, that's pretty good. Wounding on 6s. 1. No AP.
4 up and down. Hooray!
All those guys will shoot into them.
-1 to hit.
Yep. So you guys are hitting on 4s.
And are they rapid fire guns?
Assault. 4s.
6s.
And 7s. Because normally it's a 6. No.
Junior shooting all of his stuff in the Bellicor.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, dice cam explodes on a 6.
Eradicators?
No, the chaplain will shoot. Shoot his absolver pistol.
A -1 to hit.
So no damage from the Sanguinary Guard,
3s.
and they're shooting, so Chaplain's shooting in there.
Yeah. So
For some reason they hit worse. Eradicators.
have you seen that for Death Court? They have a ballistic skill of 3+ and a weapon skill of 4+. Why?
Alright, so black will be heavy
Okay.
And here comes the Eradicators.
and white will be light. White is right.
So 4s and 4s. No rolling hits.
4s.
Uh-oh.
4s to wound.
Nothing. No wounds out of the Eradicators.
Alright, Bellicor.
Contemptor, right?
Yep, Contemptor into your Poxwalkers, I guess.
Yes, sir. Shoot them all, or you want to shoot one of the dreadnoughts?
Shoot them all.
Shoot them all!
Well, no, you can do that stratagem to string them out to get an objective at the beginning of the
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'll just shoot the Contemptor.
Wow. That catches everyone off guard.
What?
That stratagem.
Yeah.
They're all like, oh, shoot the Poxwalkers. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Just kill them.
Of like 3s.
5s. So you roll 9
6s.
6s. So 2,
2 6s.
and then 3 wounds, 4 wounds.
4.
Grip save. So I'm good, but I'm down 7. That's this one, right?
Yeah. The front one. Alright. Charges.
Yes, sir.
The,
No charges over there.
these
Takes a
guys are
couple
here.
wounds on the Contemptor. Not too big of a deal.
You're good? So you need a 6 over here with the dudes. You're good?
Both of them.
Yeah. I'll let you do the thing.
Multi-charging in there. Makes all his charges.
Nurgling yet?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. The min size is 3.
I gotta roll for it. We just don't get the
assume that you made the charge?
I assume I made the charge.
Alright. So,
Man, those guys not doing anything. Alright,
just hanging out.
so 7 attacks.
I'm gonna spend 1 CP. So everyone within 3 inches of Bellicor will be -1 to their attack.
All right, so just to recap, all the shooting,
Okay, that's rude.
all the shooting in there did not damage Bellicor at all, including the Eradicators. The Chaplain did make his charge to the Sanguinary Guard.
Man, I told you.
Damage 3.
The low shot volume stuff into Bellicor. On 4s, you're hitting 3. You know, you're wounding on force. You're going to wound 2 on your best case. He's going to save 1, maybe, maybe 0. And it looked like it was 0. So, yeah, that's awesome. Bellicor's taking 0 wounds moving in this combat. So he's now got 13 wounds left. Or did he take any damage from shooting?
He took no damage from shooting.
Cool. So,
So normally I get +1 for being a Blood Angel. So normally that's 5 attacks. We're going down to 4.
Okay.
It's going to attack everybody into Bellicor.
Okay.
Except for the 1. It's going to go into Nurgle.
So we had the Chap going first.
So here's that one.
Did 3 wounds.
Chaplain did 3 wounds to Bellicor. Now the full unit of Sanguinary Guard. Now, unfortunately, right here, without the -1 and all of that, and the Blood Angels having +1 to wound in combat, I don't think this is going to fare well for Bellicor.
No.
He does not like being in combat like that.
7's a force to wound. 26.
Wait, no, 6. 6 times 4 is 24.
Yes.
So he's got 24 hits. He's going to need 4s to wound, so
12 wounds.
12 wounds.
6 go
bounce
through.
6. Are these 2 damage weapons?
Yes.
Oh, that could be a bad day for Bellicor, even on
He
average.
lives on 1 wound, on average. Unless they're the axes.
Let me look real quick. Axes.
The Carmine axes. So those are going to be, I believe, or no, I think just the AP changes on them. I don't think they go up in damage. They're not 3 damage.
I'm going to take 6 damage.
He takes 6 damage.
You're bracketed.
Uh-oh. And now, Daniel has a lot of CP, so if I'm Daniel, I fight those Sengard, and I fight them twice.
Bellicor's middle tier, so he has 5 attacks. We'll just go into the Chaplain, because that's worth battle points.
So Daniel's going to go all into the chap here.
Okay, so on 2s,
Might have been worth it to,
reroll 1s to hit. He gets it from himself. It's everything except vehicles.
What?
Strength.
To answer chat, Bellicor had not taken any wounds prior to this
He's dead.
fight phase.
Does he blow up?
Do you have a 2-up armor save? No. Okay. Did he explode?
so Bellicor just turned and looked at the chaplain and removed him. Now, yeah, if I'm Daniel here, I spend CP and
Strangle as well, because the Nurglings are alive.
Yep.
Okay.
So fight again. What kill? Maybe 4.
I think you go.
Sangard out of that.
No, I think you kill 5. And he could even spend the 1 CP for Locus of Grace because he has the side Esh keyword to give him 6s to wound or additional swings.
Okay.
Charge just the Nurglings.
I think
would've-
it's worth it. Absolutely.
I think that would have been huge here.
And then it's like, all right, well, what do you do?
I mean, how do you not? I mean, I definitely would have fought twice there. 3 CP, I mean, you've got 5 here, but to completely decimate that flank to the point where the attack back is negligible, because he's still fighting last, and then he can cast in combat. So, I mean, I probably would have done that,
That was my one.
because I think he's looking at getting hit back next time. I think he's probably thinking in a Nurgle mind, where he can spend that CP to heal himself.
So yeah, I 100% agree with you. If he doesn't reduce the inbound damage from those Sangard, he's gonna get hit next round.
Oh, or here's what we do. He's going to just bog him down with Poxwalkers and fall Bellicor out. But I still would have spent the CPU probably. I mean,
I think it'd be worth it.
Because what happens next? The Inceptors, or the Contemptors kill the other Contemptor, right? He's got nothing on that objective now. Or, because the Chaplain died. He falls back with Bellicor towards the middle or something, to where the Eradicators have to expose themselves to shoot at him. And then they get waxed by Contemptors. And then, you're in a good spot there. And then everything on the left side is pretty much dead.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm curious to see what happens. Bellacor's a monster, man.
He sure is.
Brutes.
No, I mean, seriously, I've not played against him, and just seeing him absolutely delete that chaplain with no effort was...
Well, the crazy thing is he's AP 4, right? So he's taken away 3-up saves. He's taken away 4-up saves. Or 2-up saves. And he disallows invulnerables.
Right.
So you just... Sorry, dude. And it's D3 plus 3 damage. So I don't know anything that lives against him, It just feels really good when he gets there and just does the warp's work.
Wow, I can't believe my chaplain lived. Well, you made a lot of saves.
I did. Bellacore definitely touched some butts there.
So now, with this being in this scenario and Junior getting stopped on Strangle for a turn, Daniel has some room here to try to even the score. So that's super interesting.
Oh, the -1 attack? It's once. What's cool is so it's for Slash, demons only. Bellacore has all the marks. So he's
Oh, he did use the 1 CP. What's it called? The 1 CP -1 attack from every unit in combat. That was huge. That probably saved
That
him.
helped a lot.
Yeah, I'm super confused why he didn't fight twice.
Maybe he's got a plan.
A player like Daniel, I guarantee he has a plan. Yeah, I'm curious. That was a little bit of an interesting play on Junior, going all in at Bellacore like that. I mean, theoretically, I feel like he should have died, right?
He should have, yeah.
But I mean, also, once again, you're looking at 4-ups and 4-ups and 4-ups. It's not super advantageous. He could have, played a little more cagey with it.
Well, I mean, the way he had set it up was to absolutely trash Bellacore by shooting all the Contemptor and the Whirlwind and the Sandguard and the Eradicators, and then clean up with close combat, and it just...
But
it
you
didn't
said
pan out.
trash Bellacore was shooting. He's so
You would-
inefficient to shoot.
You would have expected at least some wounds to chip off of there.
Maybe. I think the main thing is the Eradicators. You could have chipped some wounds off, but wounding on 6s is so bad. So
Oh, it is. But just the volume. I mean, all that stuff throwing in. Like
Yeah,
some-
I think in combat,
should've-
though, statistically, it was really lucky that he lived.
Yeah.
Or at least lived with as many wounds as he did. There was also, some mitigating stuff you could do there. So,
from the apothecary? 'Cause remember when he was in here, he took 2 damage and he almost didn't die? Or he almost
No,
did die?
he has 2 wounds left. Right? Because one guy took 2 wounds, the other one took 1, and then he takes 1 damage, and then...
So you failed 4.
Oh, yeah, 1 wound left. So, yeah.
Sick.
There were 3 more wounds.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go to the second phase now. Bellacore will smite for D3. So this is actually a D3 dice for 1.
why do you smite instead of Paula Despair, or instead of Betraying Shades?
And then we'll do Betraying Shades of the same unit.
Oh, he just wanted to do as many mortals as he could.
That's the,
He could have Paula Despaired there, though, and
Mitigated some of the inbound damage.
or made them fight last.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter because you both fight last. And then it's
But if you-
Daniel's turn. So if you both fight in the same phase, then the opponent gets to go first on stuck in melees. So it actually wouldn't have had an effect.
No, not on fight last. If you're both fight last, it's priority for whoever's turn it is.
Oh. I believe. Are you sure? That's how it works when you charge. Usually in the
So I actually looked this up yesterday because I
Yes.
was talking with my friend about the sequencing
so
for this.
confusing.
So if both players have fight first, the person whose turn it is has priority. Then for the middle bucket of no mods, it's the opponent first, right?
Okay.
And then when you go back into the bottom bucket of everyone who fights last, it's once again player whose turn is priority.
So yeah. And let's look at Daniel's list. Did he take Paul? We know he took Betraying Shades. Did he take Paul of
Yes,
Despair?
he did. I'm 90% sure that was on the list.
Oh man, so interesting. Yeah, maybe it's just because I've been running Bellacore a lot. I grinded a ton of reps with him,
Betraying Shades. Oh no, it's
Penumbral
Penumbral
Curse.
Curse. Oh,
which was even better anyways because Bellacore's fighting last. So Penumbral Curse is -1 AP and -1 to wound.
We'll start here with this guy with +1 to hit. He's going to
Good.
hold his full
So, you know, AP doesn't matter here, but -1 to wound against Bellicor, you know, it negates the +1 to wound. So now they're wounding on 5s.
Right.
2 wounds.
Man, all this Bellicor talk is getting me hyped. I just want to play Bellicor.
5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 6, 7, 8. So on 2s into the Inceptors, you have no CP. So those are the rerolls over there. That misses. This is a reroll as well. That is a reroll as well. So 1, 2 extra shots.
Yeah, this game is much more interesting now in this scenario. I'm curious what's going to happen.
Is the exploding 6s there from a strat, or is that a power?
From the Tallyman. It's called the Toll Keeper ability.
12, and then 3 mortal wounds at the end.
12 saves and 3 mortal wounds.
3 mortal wounds, so 1 is 2 wounds left.
Did some work to those Inceptors.
Yeah.
He got about what did he get there? 150 points of value right there.
Jeez.
He made his points back, depending on what the Carls do.
So this one, he will throw his 1 Volkite here, rockets here, and then 1 Volkite as well. Okay. So the Volkite into the company bets, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on 3s.
Do you think that's worth it, the split fire there? Putting 1 Volkite in the company vets and the rest of that Contemptor?
4, 4,
Yeah.
6s.
I think so, because I think that I think you can safely say if he can a couple mortals on him. I don't know.
1 dies and 1 is wound. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll see if the Contemptor dies from these Volkites. 3 1 1s. 1 6. Probably should have shot all the Volkites.
Daniel just said what you said. Never split fire.
Don't never split fire.
Oh no! But nice if you blew up.
So
I mean,
he-
yeah, both Volkites into the Contemptor would have been a little overkill, but I mean, he got it, so he pulled it off.
The funny thing is, he just get the job done with only Volkites because he still had his missiles, which
Yeah.
Probably, but that's a risky call, you know. Okay. So they advanced, they moved. You're chilling there.
So, losing half the Inceptors and both of those Contemptors is an interesting scenario now because now Daniel has the firepower upper hand, I think. The Whirlwind's going to be doing its thing, but now it's going to be a pretty much Sanguinary Guard and, jumping around. And Junior's got to really be careful with his other 2 characters because then he gets into the territory of giving up range, giving up points on Assassinate that's going to let Daniel
Oh,
get
wait a
ground
sec.
rings.
Those are Poxwalkers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he can just use the mortal wound strat.
That's what he's going to do. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's going to use the Mortal Wound
Okay.
strat there, try to kill them, and then also he's going to just tar pit them with Obsec because Sanguinary Guard don't have Obsec, and there's no characters there anymore.
He might be able to kill them just with the mortal wounds.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, no, there's 7 of them. Maybe not.
But still, I mean, if he doesn't kill, he's playing the risk game again here, just like I feel like those 9-inch charges, which is it can work out in your favor, it cannot. But the problem here is if they don't kill those Sanguinary Guard, now you're at the risk of losing Bellicor.
Yeah.
You know. And in my opinion, I think knowing you were going to be able to do that much damage to that flank and just have the Eradicators left, I don't think that I would have wanted to gamble that much. But, I mean, I'm not in the pilot seat either, so Daniel's playing the game with his list his way. So, it could also be the right call. I think they're going to do a ton of damage here. But it's just like Volkites into that kind of stuff. The normal damage that's going to come through is going to be pretty negligible because you're fighting against a 2-up save. So you're just trying to fish for mortals.
Yeah. So the ability that he'd used previously to reduce their attacks by 1, does that carry through for the round, or it's just for a
No,
phase?
he's going to activate that again this time.
Okay.
Really? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that'll be 28 attacks. I might as well hit. 12, 16, 24, 28.
Now-
So wait, I'm spending 2 CP. I'm spending 1 CP for every 6 to hit. There's a mortal wound. Every 1 to hit does a mortal wound to myself. It's in addition to damage, and I'm spending an additional command point so I can reroll my hits. I'm fishing for 6 to hit.
So Daniel's spending the 2 CP that are standard for the Poxwalkers. The first one is 1 CP to reroll your hits for Poxwalkers. The second one that he's spending is for the 6s to wound or to hit, I believe. Do mortals to the enemy, ones do them to yourself.
Right.
That's a lot of mortals.
Pretty healthy amount of mortal wounds there.
Those mortal wounds are for me. So, then your minus 1 to hit. So you are scary. So hitting on 5. So it's going to be 5s in addition to those. So I'll do these first. 5 to wounds. You have 1 to up save. Good. And these will also be 5s to wound as well. It's in addition to the damage. So 1, 2, 6 AP zeros.
So we've got 6.
So it's just all of these mortal wounds. 11? Yeah. These are mortal wounds to me. I will take 4.
I only have 5 guys, so.
So they're dead. And then I will get 5 of those dudes back.
He wiped the entire squad. I thought he had 7 there. He only said he only had 5.
I'm wondering if he took some damage from somewhere. Be'lakor didn't swing there, yeah?
No.
Interesting.
When I played Jordan, I got him with that too. And it's like, well, you turn off rerolls there, you turn off rerolls there. Which one do you do? That's going to be my turn.
Leadership on that guy.
Okay. So you're going to get 3 forwards or 4?
I still have a guy in the center.
Yeah, so 4.
Yeah.
So you will go up to 9 for that. And I will not get strangle again because of this stupid blade guard. It's going to continue to mess with me. Like that. Okay, so then we're going to go into your turn. We did that, we did that. You're going to get 10 again.
So Daniel's going to pass. Some key points was the single blade guard with 1 wound on that objective is going to deny the stranglehold again. Interesting collapse on the left-hand flank for Junior over there. He was able to score odes again because he has the 1 character back there in the middle, but he's going to have to really be worried about the positioning there because now he's got to sell those characters dearly. And we'll see what happens from here forward. I think he can now afford to be super aggressive with Be'lakor. There's no damage to him really. I think he needs to go for those eradicators, or at least use them to get him to kill that one last character or whatnot, or just kind of move and press, to just really maybe kill everything down there in that lower portion and do his thing.
This dude, bro.
Not much left.
You're going to have to leave though, but we'll see. Turn 5.
Yeah. Be'lakor can come down here, kill these guys, depending on where they move. He can go straight across. I mean, there's a character here, so that's points, and it's denying some oath points. But then you set yourself up for a counterattack from the Sangard, so, I mean, there's risk.
Right, I think the key here is for him, he can't lose any more characters, and I think he has to keep his banners up at all costs, if possible. Once banners start going away, and he starts closing the gap of his victory points, that's the issue. So,
And I got 15 this turn, right? No, I got 10.
Because he's still on this.
yeah, it's just interesting to see what happens. This is the middle of the game, going into Battle Round 3. Yeah, this is going to be taking a shift to where it's going to be a close game. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think, you're going to be in a scenario here where those the Poxwalkers are going to be the name of the game now. Those got to go away. If those go away, then Junior can once again have the mobility to not really sweat OBSEC that much.
Yeah, there's 1 with 2 wins left. So 18 is going to be on the other side of that.
He still has Inceptors, so he still can do some damage to those Poxwalkers for sure. I mean, those things can just pop off full blast, max value there, and just whittle them down.
Yeah,
the
but he's
Angelus,
only got 1 left. I mean,
I believe he's
it's
got
okay.
2, or is it just 1?
I see the 1 here, and then we've got the cap.
Oh, and the captain.
here.
Yeah, it is just the 1. So yeah, that's true. Maybe he flies over and meets his apothecary and starts popping those guys back.
Yeah.
It depends. We'll see. One
Well,
thing
actually,
I've noticed
no,
is
isn't the apothecary over here?
yeah, he is. If he gets a decent advance, he can pop over the wall, and then the other guy can advance as well. Because he can still shoot if he advances. You might be able to close that gap, just like he was trying to do with the blade guard. The
Yeah,
interesting
so we
thing
could
here is the
go
actual the apothecary for Junior has had almost 0 value as far as the what's the selfless healer. So I almost wonder if it's not even necessary for Junior's list to need to spend those points, just because it just I wonder how much value that brings him game after game. Because I mean, if you really are in a scenario where you need to bring a guy back, you can maybe spend the 1 CP to just bring your guy back with full health.
Yeah.
And have that extra 35 points, for something else elsewhere. I don't know. Interesting thing to talk about. I know people have been talking about that here and there with the Marines, saying, sometimes you don't get the right mileage out of that point value since the point increase, because 35 points is a lot of points.
Yeah, it is.
That could have been, missiles on the Volkites or just whatever. I mean, it's just not saying necessarily one way or the other, but it's a curiosity of mine,
Right.
I'm just curious.
So we do have some threat here from these Poxwalkers because they can take this objective from the single blade guard.
Right.
If he moves here, then there's threat from the single guard here. But then if Bellicor comes over to murk this guy for points and to
that
get
guy's
rid of
definitely not going to stay there. He's
then
booking it out of there.
Yeah, you think he's gonna?
Oh, I don't think he's
head this way.
Yeah, hell no. Do you keep him there? That's 3 victory points and the key unit to bring stuff back. Provide feel no pains. You get out of there. You get out of Dodge. Definitely do that. I'm curious what you do with your eradicators. Do you get aggressive? I mean, after seeing what you did last round, shooting Bellicor with that kind of stuff is terrible.
They don't have great targets. I mean, you're shooting in the Poxwalkers, or you're shooting in the Bellicor.
Right, and it's all terrible. I mean, at this point, is 6 Poxwalkers, at this point, the guarantee, maybe is that better? Hard to say. But I definitely don't think that character stays there. Unless he wants to, keep that. No, that character shouldn't stay there. See, I think that's what Junior's kind of mapping out right now, deciding what's the right play, what he needs to do here, because it's a tricky scenario now. The game is a lot less simple than it was, top of battle round 3 or 2.
So what about these right here? Come down, maybe hug the bottom part of the objective.
What are those shrouds?
Yeah.
Oh, they're just going to chill back there all game. I don't think that they're going to move forward aggressively. They could move forward aggressively. At this point, with the Contemptors gone and 1 Plasma Scepter, and the Eradicators committed, I think those units over there can freely move without fear of recourse until it's melee. Now, we do have the Sanguinary Guard up there. They're going to charge. I think they kill all those Poxwalkers.
Well, so who wins in a fight? So let's say Sangard go up here, kill Poxwalkers. If they're going to consolidate, they have to go towards here,
Right.
So they're not going to do that.
Well, I think
But
he charges off to the right-hand side of those guys and stays as far as possible away because you have the jetpack movement. You try to get as far as you can off to the right side of those Poxwalkers to where it's the furthest possible charge. But
they don't get the jetpack benefit when they're charging, right? Isn't that right? I think you still have to measure vertical distance when you're charging.
Right, but he can jump over models.
Oh, that's right. He can.
And that terrain piece, depending on what they classified it, can be breachable. So you could just walk through it.
Last thing you need is, he's not within 6. Kill you.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. And the other problem that you got to focus on there is with the charge like that,
It's the only reason he's there.
depending on what happens, Daniel's going to be able to shoot that unit with those 2 Contemptors now. You're going to expose them. So we already saw what happens with the stratagems and the CP to be able to, he just needs 2 CP to probably delete a unit of a unit of Sanguinary Guard. Now it's the unit of Sanguinary Guard, if you can get the Apothecary over there and give him the Feel No Pain, that's going to be an issue. Also if you can set up your Teeth of Terra Captain to cruise back in there and shred some damage. Also, do you send in your Whirlwind there to really mitigate? He might have been able to castle up for a turn there and just hold it down. But I don't know if, the thing is with Blood Angels is I'm not sure if that's going to set you up for success for the following battle rounds. So it's kind of tricky to say. If those Sanguinary Guard can push hard, cruise past, and then get ready to, set up for something otherwise, making a play towards Daniel's objective, that's interesting. But I think he also have a character supporting over there, and he probably has a Plague Skull, or something like that, and also those Flamers do get Overwatch shots, and So I don't know. I don't know what we're seeing here. I think Junior's probably just kind of maybe banking on going up there and trying to just murder the unit with OBSEC,
Right.
and then keep his characters back to just hold the objective, because after that, nothing threatens it.
Yeah, and he's got a single blade guard. He's got the cap. There's a Inceptor there if he needs it. They can all sit on the point. There's no ranged firepower to actually take him off at that point.
So he moved first, and then they move.
And then he moved.
I think you need like a 7, or you do.
+1.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yep. Blood Angels.
Yeah. And then this thing is gonna move like this.
goes here.
And he goes there for character protection.
Cool. So no matter what, that's your point.
Yeah, there's no good way to get him off that point right now.
Yeah, so I think he's just doubling down here, getting out of line of sight, so you can't really move up and kill him with anything. He's just holding those two for sure, trying to cap up. He's trying to maximize the lead, keep the banners up, force Daniel to have to make a play towards the Eradicators in that area back there. You know, that's going to take him a turn and then another turn to probably get the charge off. And then, you know, by that time we're dealing with you know, an interesting a point where what more are you going to achieve after that? And then Junior could be set up in a way to where he can actually make a play on Daniel's opposite objective to kind of just keep the game state solid so that he can just keep the separation, you know, keep the gap. You know, because now Assassinate has got him 3. They both got shut down on Stranglehold for 1 turn, so I think they're going to be pretty even there. I think actually Daniel's been shut down twice, yeah. So Junior needs to make sure he keeps getting Stranglehold and doesn't give up points on Assassinate. Banners, they're both ticking pretty easy, equally.
So here's something curious. He's not moved the Apothecary here.
I think the thought process there, the Poxwalkers won't make a charge there because they're going to have to go 5 inches up, 2 inches forward, 5 inches down. You know, you don't even have the charge range to just go from base touching it to get over there. And even if they do, you're only going to have so many guys.
Right, but he's in charge range from Bellicor.
Right, but I think what he's doing there is putting a shiny object there to say, okay, you can go for that, but that's going to put Bellicor where I want Bellicor, which is not challenging my banner and the objective that I hold on the bottom left, potentially. So I don't know if that's the right play. That might be what he's trying to do. It might not be what he's trying to do, but I think that if he keeps that guy there, he's putting a wacky charge for Bellicor as well. It's an awkward one because you have to go up and over the canteens and whatnot. So I think that I think that that's deliberate.
Yeah, so it looks like Bellicor's taking some fire from Eradicators.
It's D6 plus 4, right?
Yep, plus 2. D6 plus 2.
Put it on 0.
Okay. 0 CP?
Yes, sir.
Alright, first one. 7.
Oh.
Does he blow up?
Woo. So maybe he just flexed that Apothecary
Man.
there, and he was like, I know Bellicor's dead.
That's frustrating.
That was one shot.
I almost wonder if he should have used that CP. Oh, he had to use the double Poxwalker CP, so he didn't have the CP to heal him.
Alright,
Yeah.
let's put whatever shots I can into the
Although I think Bellicor, I mean, killing the full unit of Sangard and the Chaplain, I mean,
they're all in range.
it was all right. You know, and getting him to commit there, that was huge, shutting down a point of Stranglehold.
No, I think that was definitely good, and I think it was a decent gamble to say that Bellicor was going to be able to absorb the Eliminator shot or Eradicator shots, and it just didn't pan out this time.
Now, that's the risk. You know, 4 up, 4 up, 4 up. It could go either way. It's a
Right.
swinging number. Now, the interesting thing here, though, that was Daniel's real most mobile unit, that and the drone. Those are gone. So Daniel is now dealing with infantry walking. Junior still has Sangard, characters on bikes, some Gravis dudes with jetpacks. So, I mean, I think the name of the game here now is if he can really just wreck these Poxwalkers, then Daniel's where he's at. You've got 2 Contemptors and 3 Shrouds or 4 Shrouds or whatever. Daniel's just stuck to those 2 objectives. And I think that what's going to happen here is that Junior's just going to outscore him based on not giving him Assassinate points.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, Whirlwind's gonna shoot a Stormbolter there. Okay. And then it'll shoot my top thingy over there and just make him fight last just in case you charge me. I think that's just
So Junior's going to defensively shoot the Death Shroud with the fight last from the Whirlwind. And that's smart because what it does is it makes it to where if those Shrouds do get into combat, they'll fight last and then they got to get beat down by Sangard.
0. Good. Stormbolter. 2 shots if I move. 1.
Might make a difference.
Charges.
I think you're good.
All right, Sanguinary Guards charged in. Okay, so that was a smart play. So he was setting it up knowing the whole time that he was going to make those Death Shroud fight last. So that way he's going to jump in, beat the crap out of the Poxwalkers, and then he's using that charge movement to try to use his Consolidate to get more guys onto that objective and actually contest it. And then now if Daniel charges, he's going to fight last.
Yeah, because I just do that. Yep. Okay, so that's 35 attacks.
Yeah.
Hitting on 2s. 3 rerolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here you go. Reroll once.
Very interesting. How many Poxwalkers does Daniel have there?
Yeah.
He was
Not
like,
enough.
I was going to say, you're going to make him roll this?
Yeah.
Like, those things are so good. He's rolling 40 dice.
Alright, so that will get you Stranglehold. Keep choking me, Junior.
So you said the shrouds usually have like flamethrowers and some other things they can hit the Sandguard with?
They do. They have these little hand flamers. They're plague weapons, but they're strength 3, so usually they don't do a lot. I think there's a strat that lets them do some mortals, but it's just decent into things like Drukhari right now, or getting. And they auto hit, so for Overwatch it is something. It's not good here, but it's good. It's good sometimes. I think he also, that character has the plague skull, so that's an option.
2 banners.
Yeah, super interesting. So-
Plague Skull is mortal wounds.
Yeah, you throw it at someone's face, and then it does a lot of more wounds. It's like you roll 7 dice, and every 4 up or 3 up or something like that does a mortal.
So if that is the case between that and the Contemptors over there, he could potentially wipe that Sandguard squad
Right? Maybe
without
I mean,
charging it. Because 2 Contemptors on average will kill 3 of the Sandguard just out of mortal wounds. He'd need to fail 4 more saves to kill the squad, but 2-up save, so who knows about that one.
See, I think this is the right call. I think he's going to shoot the Contemptors with everything, the whole shebang to try to drop those guys. Although Volkites don't do well into the 2+. And then he's going for a long bomb shroud charge into the captain, and I think he positioned his character to be able to do the Plague Skull at the character if he can, which is interesting. And then Poxwalker should be able to get a decent advance to move up and take Junior's other objective, drop his banner down, and just stretch. I mean, he doesn't really care about... Oh, he's doing with the Nurglings. Even better. Even better. There you go. I would advance. I would move the Poxwalkers closer to just start flooding his side.
Yep, that's what he's doing.
Yep. And then now...
Good call.
So now Daniel has Strangle. I think. Yeah, and like I said, now that he got Bellacorgon with the fly, he knew that those Poxwalkers can't charge over those canteens. It's like...
They're just too slow.
Well, yeah, it's more than 10 inches over it, even with the dice, just on the dice, because it's 5 up and 5 down at the minimum, plus the inches to cover at the top of it. It's like 2 inches wide. So it's just like 12 inches of movement just to negotiate those canisters. It would be a real World War Z looking thing though, if they did that.
Now, because of engagement range on vertical distances, can they just get up on the edge of one of those crates and fight down?
They probably could just get up to the edge, but I mean the thing is too, it's like Daniel getting that unit stuck there might be a liability,
Right?
Real quick, so 96 on the first one, he's dead. The next one, 2 die. I don't know what kind of words just came out of my mouth. 6, 8, 3, 5, 8. This is the one in the back, so 3s. Reroll my 1s.
Shooting Contemptors.
Oh, is it? Okay. So then he said.
Yeah, looks like the missiles did some work. Took out 2 Sandguard right there.
Yeah. If you can hit and wound both of them, that's pretty good. Well,
Yeah.
they wound on 2s. The thing is getting them to fail their 4-up saves.
That's a pretty good roll.
It's a pretty good.
3, 6, 9. That was not a 6. 12, 15, 16, and then 4 mortal wounds at the end.
So 2 more down from mortal wounds, and I think he said 16, so
2-up saves. What's the math on that? 3 fails.
2.5. So
Round 2.
Made them all. Oh no.
4 die.
So he did, yeah. The 2 mortal wounds. Oh man.
that was very effective.
This is where I'm definitely not using my thermal pain correctly. Because the stupid dude's been Well, he's been getting me a lot of points.
Yeah.
So I can't be upset about homeboy there.
Right. Yeah, he's basically like gotten you like 8 or 9 battle points. So the next one.
Yeah, Junior's been laughing about the fact that he hasn't been able to use his apothecary, kind of like I said. He hasn't been getting any mileage out of the field no pain against these mortals and the Volkites. He hasn't been able to bring anybody back, but that guy's been racking up both points.
Just roll your Carls. See what happens with Carls.
Right. So we'll do the 2 flamers into the captain. 7 shots.
Yeah, so Junior just pulled that last Sandguard
Closer, no?
instead of rolling a million dice against him.
He's outside of 10. He's outside of 12. This one's within 12, so they can still shoot him. Okay. So 4. So that's all 6s. Reroll. 2 wounds thus
Reroll
far.
everything?
Yeah, there's arch contaminator. 3 wounds at AP 0.
How much damage?
1.
Cap takes a wound.
He advanced.
Hand flamers, man. Hand flamers. They're plague flamers too. It's like he's not even spraying flames. He's spraying, what is he spraying?
I don't think
Like
we want to know.
slime. Yeah, you don't want to know what it is.
No, I know. He doesn't have it.
So, play now is go for the 9.
All right, Daniel's going for the 9.
Get it?
Oh,
Is that a 9?
Yes.
Wow.
10. Oh, looks like a 10, bro.
Long bomb charge.
Here's my 9 tool.
But did he pull himself off that point? Who's he have on that objective still? Or is he going to try and just tow it?
Still at this point.
it doesn't
Yep.
matter because the captain has rights of war. So OBSEC until he's dead. So the thing is,
Right, I meant point 4 up in the top right. There's nobody else there.
oh, dude, because that captain can just vroom and fall back. Take it. No banner for you.
It's true.
We'll see what happens.
Guy back there, right?
Yeah.
Has 2.
Yeah. 2 left.
9 attacks.
So he's fighting with 2 shrouds here. No CP investment.
T5. Is he anything special?
Yeah. Teeth terror.
Ugh.
So 6. Flat 2. Doesn't matter.
AP billion.
AP 3.
So that wounded dude's dead. The other one has 2 wounds.
Which is perfect. Because that takes you off that point.
Yes. Okay. 4.
So he gets removed from that point back there, which doesn't matter that much. All that matters now is that he has to try to, if he just got to kill this captain. It's going to be a long shot. I mean, he's got 5 wounds. He's on the bike. Or I think 6 wounds because he's on the bike. He's got T5.
They did chip off 1, so he's down to 5.
Down to 5. So I think it might have been better. Are they? I can't tell if he was using the sweep or the cleave.
3, 6.
I think.
So 6 is to wound, do 2 mortals. I was just gonna take the wounds.
Oh yeah, the sergeant has the relic scythe, so he's fishing for mortals here.
So that's gonna be 4 mortal wounds. Okay. Right there. And then 6 AP ones. So that'll be put me up to
So
7.
the captain dies, and now I believe it's just the one blade guard on there, right?
Yes.
Consolidate on the point. This will go down.
So removes the banner, he gets stranglehold, and that relegates Junior to a 5.
So no leaderships.
That's going to be rough.
I will finally get stranglehold.
That's Daniel's first tick for stranglehold, though. So right now he's going to have to get it for at least one more turn to tie on that. It's going to be tricky. Killing that dude, though, does really make it rough for Junior to be able to get over there and take that objective. I don't think he's going to be able to.
13 for oaths.
I think, yeah, Junior only has 1 fast unit left. He's got that single.
Priest, but he can't go out. If he goes out there, he's just going to get shot by Volkites.
Yeah, right.
You know, but now...
Oh, he's got the 1 in Scepter, which, I mean, it's moderately fast.
Yeah, but I mean, anything that goes that direction just gets shot, you know. So
58
it's,
for me. 74 for you. You will get 1 banner. I cannot stop you from getting the second one. I don't think I can. So we'll just leave it at 8 for now. I cannot stop you from getting oaths. So I think we're looking at least 76 to 58. I think you can't stop me from getting 15 for primary.
so right now, both of them are at the top of 3, moving into 4. I think Junior and Daniel are kind of trying to just see kind of where it falls and kind of project the game for the next 2 turns to kind of see what they can do to win. And it's something that you kind of do in most games that are real close, or if a player starts to take some meaningful damage. I think that right now Junior's in a real bad spot. I mean, he ultimately has 8 models, you know.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of.
There's not much of a way to fight back here. I think that that play on Bellicor not working was such a bad hit. That stopped him from scoring a Stranglehold, took away 2 really impactful units in the game. Super rough there. I think the thought process was right. The dice just let him down. Or the Junior's dice did okay. Daniel rolled hot as heck on Bellicor. So I think that's going to be rough there. We'll see what happens. So I think Junior rolls up.
Yeah, so
he shoots the Nurglings.
Yeah, so that's what they're trying to do right now. Is they're seeing if he can remove those Nurglings. I mean, between 3 Eradicators and the
dude, you'd be surprised. It's gross. Nurglings, like, just when you think you give them an adequate amount of fire. I mean, between shooting and combat, probably. The Whirlwind, if it backs up and can blast, keep on blasting Poxwalkers. I mean, at this rate, do you maybe commit your Blood Angel Priest in there, knowing that he's just going to start murdering 4 to 5 Poxwalkers a turn in combination, you know, with maybe you just let the Eradicators shoot and charge the Nurglings. You get your Company Veteran, and you get your Apothecary in there in the mix after your Whirlwind dunks on that. Yep, those guys fall back and take his backfield objective. The Inceptor can actually do some damage to those Death Shroud. If he falls back, maybe he moves the Inceptor to a position where he can start actually reviving them. If he can pull... is that what he's doing? Yeah, if he pulls that guy over, and then he pulls the Inceptor close, he brings another Inceptor back, and now all of a sudden he's got 2 Inceptors overcharging into those...
The Inceptor's moved already. He's gone. He's up here...
Yeah, I need to start looking on the screen to my right more. Yeah, so the Inceptor jetted up there, so he wants to bring back the Blade Guard, it looks like.
Right there.
Yep. And maybe he's just like, I'm a Blood Angel Blade Guard. I'm here to wreck, you know. He only needs to do... Yeah, and then I think with the Feel No Pain... Let's see what he's trying to do. I think it's going to be French. He's got to kill those Shrouds.
So is this character any good in close combat?
They're all Blood Angels. So
No, the on Daniel's side.
Oh, no, not particularly.
Okay.
What relics does he have? Let's pop up the list and see what his relics are. I believe that's his. That's not the Tallyman. That's not the. It's his other support character. Let's see what he's got here.
Essentially, you have to rely on him dying and them dying.
Chaos Lord?
Can these dudes kill all of them?
Oh, was that the Chaos Lord?
No, Biologist
Oh, it's
Purifier.
the Putrefier. Yeah, so the Biologist Putrefier, blah.
And Arch Contaminator.
Yeah, I think he gives the aura of the mortal wounds in combat, is what I think he's doing.
So the reason I was asking that, and it's hard to judge angles from here, but if he could heroically intervene in here and take him out.
What does he have in close combat?
Junior's asking the same question.
It's almost nothing. It shouldn't be able to kill him, but let me just pull it up just to be sure.
Close game, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be a close game. Right now, Junior's got a hefty lead, but I think as the board control starts to slip away, it's going to be tough to hold the lead. So Junior's going to have to just make every little model count here.
Yeah, we got 2 rounds left after this. Daniel does go last, so
it's not nothing, but it's
The Whirlwind.
2 wins is kind of scary.
Yeah. Because I only have 2 wounds.
So real quick, because this came up in chat, we're looking at the player secondaries. Daniel took Raise the Banners, Stranglehold, and Assassination.
75 points total.
And Junior took Raise the Banners, Stranglehold, and Odes of Moment.
73 to 75. I think raising a banner here. The thing is with this thing is not like ITC battles where I can't mess with it without changing things.
No, yeah.
But we're looking at 2 banners for me next turn, so that'll put me at 75. So we'll be tied. 75, 75. I will likely get 2 more again because you're going to deny. I can't even raise a banner over there, so I'll be at 77 to 75. I can probably get Stranglehold one more time, so.
So this is already with you 15 on the back end.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would be.
And this is with my 10 on the back end.
You got
5.
You got 5 in there because I control this. So I will be. So I had 73. So you put me up to 75 because that's for my banners. I'll get my command phase next turn. I will get 2 more, which will put me at 77, and then I will likely get Stranglehold, which will put me up at 80. So that'll be here, and then you will likely get 1 banner because I can't turn that off. Potentially 2.
Players are taking another look at their scores here, kind of seeing what they can do, how the game works.
2, 2, 3, 2. Right? 2, 2, 3.
2, 2, 3, 2. Was this
That
banner?
one. Yeah, I've had that banner. Remember, my blade guard put it up.
Your blade guard put it up, but then I took it down, right? So you should have 2, 2, 3, 2, which is
And
9.
1.
Yeah, so I have you at 9 for banners.
10.
2, 2, 3, 2 is 9. 2, 2, 2 is 6, plus 3 is 9.
Yeah. So 2, 2,
3, 2 is 9.
3, 2. Okay.
And then so you'll get 1 more at the end of the game, because I can't stop you there. So we'll just put you at 10
No,
for that.
don't put it yet.
Okay.
Okay. And don't put your banners yet. Oh, yeah, you're ready.
I have it.
Man, this is just such a close game.
So I can get 3 for Stranglehold. I can get 2 additional for banners. Puts me at 78. I think that's it. The thing is you. I don't know. Math is hurting my head a lot right now.
Yeah, mine too.
This turn has 7.
Okay, well, let's just shoot.
Figure it out.
See what fucking happens. Here's the,
Eradicators. Is this in your shooting phase? I'm actually going to spend 2 CP. I'm going to go down to 0. They're just going to have a 4 pinball.
I thought you are out of CP.
So I gained 1 from the tally man, and then I had 1 from last turn that I didn't spend.
I thought you used it on Bellator.
That was the turn before that. Bellator died on turn 3. Or
No, he didn't.
top of 4.
On top of 4.
Yeah. So when it became my turn, I got 1 in the command phase, right? And then in this battle round, I got 1 from the tally.
So you have 2 CP?
I had 2 CP, now I have 0, because I'm going to give them a 4 up invuln.
Okay.
For the rest of the phase.
Alright.
Twos.
Okay. Each one kills base, I think, right?
4s. So 2 bases die.
2 bases dead.
Alrighty, so Nurglings are taking a little bit of damage here. We're rolling into turn 3. It's battle round 3. Actually, are we kicking into battle round 4?
He said top of 4.
Top of 4. Because 3 has already concluded. Oaths has already been ticked up there, so we're rolling into the top of 4.
4 up invuln. D3.
It's looking close.
Okay, so at least that guy's gonna die.
And
That is
that
very
turn marker
close.
doesn't like to update, huh? It's weird.
You got to hit a button to actually make it update, so
Oh, is it player error?
it may be player
Those
error.
jerks. Those jerks.
We're going to be implementing some improvements on the automated scoreboard here, probably next session.
That's a work in progress. It's a hard one to nail down.
Yeah.
It's been great though. I think it's been better.
It's given us much faster updates on command points and just the score in general, so I like
Right.
it. The turn one, though, is a little
He's raising a banner.
it's lagging a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters for a banner, right?
I don't think it does
No,
either.
so let's just shoot him.
Okay.
Shoot him into there.
Okay. 2d3.
2d3 shots.
4.
Boom, boom, boom.
Whoa.
That is huge. Huge.
Huge. Whirlwind.
Whirlwind.
And to answer chat, we're using a custom implementation that one of the guys here at the shop had made up. I'm not all the way familiar with the technical details, but the players do have a tablet which is on the board you can see there, and they enter in, it's a scorecard, so they enter that in, push a button, and it updates the stream live.
We also got some super sweet John Madden arrows,
Yeah.
keeping it rolling here. So we could talk about things like, let's talk about that Nurgling that lived. Where's he at, Eric?
Where's
Can
that
we see him?
Nurgling? Well, there were Nurglings somewhere. Oh, wait, no, they're gone.
Those aren't Nurglings over there.
Where's the Nurglings at? Nurglings right here.
Oh, look at those Nurglings.
Look at all these arrows I can put.
Oh, man. It's like John Madden. I know exactly what you're talking
Amazing.
about. I know exactly where they are now. It's so convenient.
You know that mortal wound thing over there.
Although I'm upset that Eric has them set to red right now. Nobody likes to look at red arrows. They got to be yellow,
Oh, look at
like a highlighter.
Let's blast into them, I guess.
the yellow arrows aren't working very well. I think it's part of the green screen effect that's messing them up.
5 wounds.
Ah.
Guys.
This one has the 2 ones.
So we got those 2 shrouds on that central objective over there that are kind of chilling. One of them is damaged. I think we're going to see a play with the Blade Guard here in the Assault Doctrine to try and knock those guys down. I do think it might be a tall order, and the thing is, it's a high risk, high reward thing, but I don't know if there's much more he can do because they got to be dealt with. The problem is if they get in there and they don't kill that one Shroud Sergeant, those guys are gone.
Teeth 4.
I think the Inceptor is also going to shoot there. He had his job done, but he goes away next turn.
7 die.
Whirlwind picked up some Poxwalkers.
Junior went first to answer chat.
Which actually was kind of a good thing for both. I think it was ideal for both people because it gives Daniel the opportunity to respond to Junior's Odes a Moment. So, you know, it's when your Marine person goes second, it's better for them because he can just zoom a dude up, get Odes a Moment, guarantee his points to where if he goes first to the advantage of Daniel, Daniel gets at least his turn to be able to do something about it. But for Junior, he was able to position well and really take over the board before Daniel had an opportunity to move out and set up some firing lines or do the same. So it kind of worked out. I think we did see a big punishing moment on the left-hand flank when Junior went in and made a big move on Bellicor, and just Daniel was hot, rolling hot. So that one was tough. It was tough for Junior to absorb that.
That was very tough because Junior committed the Chaplain on the bike and a full squad of Sandguard, and he didn't, I don't think, did some wounds on Bellicor, but lost all of that.
Yeah.
Not a very good trade. So question in chat, are Shrouds doing anything? Shrouds being right there. We will see. If they can absorb this combat round from those Blade Guard, then they will have done something.
Shrouds are a 50-50 right now. About half the Shrouds have done absolutely nothing. Half of the Shrouds have been very impactful in the mid-board.
2s. 2 shrink 6, right? 3, 5. 4 3s. 3, 6, 7. 3, 6, 7. You didn't want to charge here, right?
No. Because that keeps me on that objective.
Okay. So the wounded one is dead, and the sergeant has a wound.
Hoo-hoo.
So here's the issue. Now that Sergeant gets to fight back. Can he deal 6 wounds? Hard to say.
I mean, he does have the mortal wounds thing from Arch Contaminator.
The thing is, all he needs to kill, though, is 1 to contest.
Right.
So if he contests, then Junior's not going to get the Stranglehold point.
Junior might get Stranglehold from the Nurglings, though, in the corner.
1, 2, 3. He's got 3, right? But Daniel needs to be off of this. Oh, actually, that's true. Daniel needs to kill both of them for him to get Strangle. Nurglings are dead. Oh, the pilot and consolidate is going to be real important. Yeah, pro play right there. Because I was like, if he doesn't stop that, it's going to be rough. Now, Daniel does have CP to do some mortal wounds there to those Eradicators. The last thing I think Poxwalkers want to be doing is fighting Primaris. He might be able to swing 1 Poxwalker around here with some cheeky movement. This guy might be able to come around this way if the movement is exact on the pylon and consolidate and tag, and kind of just whirlwind around that one guy if he can pull it off. It's gonna see we'll see it's gonna be very nuanced on how he can do it, but I think he can make that happen. Let's see what he does.
Okay. I don't think it matters now because you fought with everything. So we'll go with the Death Shroud Sergeant into the Blade Guard.
So we got Death Shroud Sergeant fighting here. Let's see if he can drop these two guys here. That point is a move.
10 attacks.
He's got a ton of attacks, and each 6 does 2 mortal wounds.
Wow.
With the Biologist Putrefier and the Relics Scythe. That dude is a wrecking ball.
So there. Reroll. So that's 8 mortal wounds. And then 5 saves. 81.
Man.
8 mortal wounds, yeah.
Dead?
Yeah, that takes him out right there. Not even
that's
at the
the
roll
problem.
save.
So that was the
Jeez.
desperate gambit. So that was an issue there. That could even be the. So Junior was hoping, he knew that those guys were going to die right there. I don't think he planned for that to go that bad, because now that charge, he just gave up the unit there. He killed 1 Shroud, but now he doesn't have the Stranglehold points. This is going to be rough. He can still answer in his next turn and probably kill that Sergeant. Let's see. I mean,
But I mean, so when Daniel's up, he can come down here, get 3 off killing that guy, move him here.
yeah, shoot the dude. Well,
Shoot this
I
guy
think what you
here.
do is you fall back with the Poxwalkers onto the objective, down onto Junior's objective. You shoot the Eradicators with the Contemptors.
Oh, yeah.
You
Good call.
use your Sergeant to go kill that one Inceptor, and then you bring your dude up and touch, and then that's probably GG.
So we're going this way.
That's kind of
And
what
said
I
shoot down here.
Yeah, for sure. You just get rid of those, and you might be able to do it with just the 1+1 to hit Contemptor, with the rockets, and then you could send the rockets from the other one into it, and maybe the Contemptors can actually pick up all of the Gravis. It depends, but then you start getting to the point where you leave things to chance, splitting fire.
Yeah. And if he positions correctly, I mean, if he just moves here, touches the building, he can,
Yeah. See, I would have.
fire all the way down to this guy.
Oh
if
yeah,
needed.
just do the one shot. See, I would have fallen the other way though, fallen back the other direction, and just touched his objective with the veteran, because you're shooting the Eradicators.
Stranglehold.
Yeah, so get Stranglehold there. I would get 2 banners, so we should do that first. So I get 2 banners up to 10. I will get 15 primary. I think what I would do in this case is, so he would go here, this Death Shroud Sergeant. I would probably try and kill your dude. So he would walk this way, and then
Yeah, because that shooting doesn't matter.
yeah. So it'd just be a matter of
Can you kill my dude?
yeah. So he would flame you.
Can't. This is closest.
5 or 5. Oh, you're right.
I'm closest now.
What's his gun?
I have a pistol.
Is it is it
No, it's just full pistol.
just a bolt pistol?
Yeah.
So they're kind of deliberating on what's going to happen here. The Inceptor's gone.
5s.
Let's see what happens with the Gravis. Yeah, I think Daniel could have fallen back a little more advantageously down here, and kind of gone,
These 2 ones left.
kind of taking these guys and come this way, and fallen back. He might have been able to stretch too and stay outside of an inch and fall back both ways, so that way he controls both objectives. And then knowing that you're going to take out the Eradicators, and then you just have one little company veteran here who's not going to do much,
Right.
Over here, he can fight, pile in, kill this guy, and then consolidate to tag the Whirlwind. That means your Poxwalkers are safe, and it's a blast weapon, so it can't fire it into melee with you. And then lastly, this objective doesn't really matter because the dude's gone. So I think that we're in a pretty good spot here. I think that's kind of what I think would have been the best bet. I think that also Daniel realized too at this point this one objective right here didn't really matter. The bottom left one didn't really matter too much. So
And I'll get 1 for banners.
I think that either way, 6 one way, half dozen the other. I think he's in a good spot here, doing what he needed to do. So
Be an additional one. Then you max out Oaths. You would not max out Stranglehold, and you would get an additional banner there. 8478. Is that assassinated dead? Game start.
Game, dude.
That was awesome.
No, that assassinate didn't do it.
So it looks like talk from the board says that Daniel has won this 84-78.
84-78. Both players are double checking it. Close game. 84-78. I mean, we're talking about 6-point difference there, and I think honestly the difference was that Bellicor charge.
Yeah.
I think it would have probably been a
Game-changing.
marginal victory the other direction if Junior had done a little bit more damage on the left-hand side. Razor thin game. Good game. You got to see a lot of really solid movement. That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, Bellicor being T8 and all.
All right, I'm going to go grab the guys, and we'll do some post-game interviews.
Sweet.
Now I know.
He is a Damien.
Yeah. And then my chaplain not getting his fucking lightning zone ever.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with Grey Knights.
Yeah, going in there, we'll do our post-game wrap-up.
Who's first? Both of us? Cool. Both of us?
Just you and me.
Daniel, you can't go in there.
And the casting couch.
Yeah.
All right, guys, asking for the chat, man. Did you guys think that that was going to go down that way, or did you think that it was going to be what was your thoughts on the game and the outplay?
So,
Answer that as we come in here. So I got both of our players, Junior, Daniel. Epic game. I think that there was like two super defining moments in that game. Super close, 6-point spread. You know, I think that there was a couple key points. I think in the early positioning, we were talking about it over the game, and Junior, your movement was excellent. You know, I think that a lot of that stuff going on there was crazy. I think that, man, that Bellicor charge bouncing was brutal. That was super brutal. Let's go ahead and get your guys' thoughts. I mean, going into the aftermath, we'll start with you, Junior. I mean, what do you think was the turning point in that game?
Yeah, the turning point was actually not killing Bellicor.
Yeah, I think.
I set up a pretty good charge to get Sangard and my chaplain in there. Daniel made some good saves. My chaplain was just doing flat 3 damage. If you want to get the litany off, that's 4 damage. But even then, not killing Bellicor is really what turned the game. I should have also charged just the Nurglings, because if I would have charged the Nurglings, killed them off, my Sangard would have been sitting in the middle of that tower, not able to be touched by anything on
Right.
by his army. Not Bellicor, not the Contemptors. So also that was a big failure on my part right there, because that would have completely changed the game. I would have had Stranglehold. I would have taken down a banner. He would have had nothing for that side, and then next turn my Sanguinary Guard would have gone over and killed all the Poxwalkers.
Yeah, and it was rough because, I mean, I feel like your dice were pretty. They were on the money. I mean, and then the saves were hot, dude. It was like nuts. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that point was super heavy. That was crucial. Aside from that, what else did you think? I mean, aside from that, it was pretty straightforward, pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty solid game. Daniel had great movement. He used his Contemptors well. He kept his Death Shrouds in the back, which was huge because I wasn't able to shoot them with my my Plasma Scepters. That one 3-man unit I just wiped. I think I overcommitted to that.
It was so dead.
Yeah.
So dead.
kind of felt like I had him with his pants down, and Jared's like, oh crap,
Yeah.
we gotta take care of
I
this.
literally went to the bathroom when I came back and Death Shrouds were there. So I was like, what is going on?
He just goes, what are those? Like, oh, those are in your backline.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, I can't let that happen. So I think that right there, I overcommitted to those dudes. I should have just put the Plasma Scepters and moved the Sangard up.
Yeah.
To take out the Poxwalker unit a turn earlier. But
yeah, because I was looking at it too. We kind of talked about it. Eric and I were talking about it when Daniel dropped all of his reserves in and failed every charge. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I was like, that's
Same.
probably
Not
GG.
looking
I was
good.
like, dude, you just lost your whole army.
It's like, Junior's gonna come give me a bear hug.
And then I was like, dude.
yeah,
And then it was you got rid of the shrouds. The poxwalkers weren't really a threat, so I like that. I like the way you maneuvered around them, and we're like, these guys are just chilling. I'm gonna let them chill for one more turn. And then the Bellicor thing was the real defining moment. You know what else was pretty clutch was that one the sanguinary ancient behind those canteens that just the movement was so fucked that he was just being a boss moonwalking like slash dance chilling, and then oh man,
Yeah,
just
I know.
racking up oats points. I was like, that's gangster.
Yeah, I saw that. Like there was a little corner, and where Daniel was positioned, there was no way he can touch that priest.
It was 12 inches to charge over the canteens just on that movement alone.
Yeah.
So like I was like, dude, there's no way. And then your unit's never getting off of that.
Yep.
It was
So-
funny when I was setting up the terrain. It was actually I thought of that. I said, there's like this weird spot where he could just take oaths and like I could do nothing about it. And I just said, this is whatever,
So yeah, let's talk about this. Daniel, let's ask you now. I mean, what in the beginning of the game, I felt like you were in a really uphill battle scenario. The Bellicor thing happened, and then I mean, I think you were able to take that faltering and really capitalize on it. What were your defining moments in the beginning of the game, and then you thought the most important moments in the second half of the game?
So I think the biggest thing for me was really the positioning of Bellicor. Really just having him sit behind that building and just wait. And turn 2, he jumps out to sit behind the other building. Just kind of putting himself in a position. I'm basically telling Junior, hey, this is my side of the board. And if you want to come over here and try and change that, you have to commit something serious. And I think that really the Eradicator is not doing any damage because when it was, they're hitting on 4s and he missed with almost everything. I thought to myself, this flank is gone now.
Well, we were talking about it, and like the other thing too is I was like, I was like, man, that's what as a person that's playing Bellicor, that's what you want shooting Bellicor because it's like you got 6 shots, you're gonna hit 3, you're gonna wound 2, he's gonna save 1 or both, and there's a real good shot of you just doing nothing. And I'm like, that's like all of those 4-up gates are kind of what you want. I'm like, and shooting is kind of not the way to deal with them, but trying to soften them up makes a lot of sense because then the Sanguinary Guard and the Chaplain, I was like, oh god, this dude is so dead. I was like, so dead.
Well, there was a bunch of moments in the game, and this is kind of how Junior and I play, especially in competitive play as well, is when we're making decisions, it's like, hey, don't do that. Like he even said, I'm not going to shoot these Poxwalkers because he's going to revive himself back onto this objective. And I said, yeah, it's not a good idea. Same thing with the Sangard shooting the Death Shrouds. There's no reason to not shoot the Death Shroud because if 7 Sangard can't kill 14 Poxwalkers,
why are you taking Sangard?
Yeah, why are you taking Sangard? You're not rolling 6s.
Yeah.
And so we were just kind of talking about it. And it was things like that where I think that being able to optimize all of those shootings was really good for him and myself. And just I think in the late game what really came down to it was really just pushing hard on that one flank and that one Death Shroud living. That sergeant just mows stuff down.
Yeah. And the way you take him with that double relic, it's sneaky because you don't even care about his actual damage. You just care about the fact that he's doing a stupid amount of mortal wounds. It's gross.
There was a moment where I picked up some 5s and I said, I kind of want these as wounds. And I thought, no, re-roll, because you're wounding on 3s anyway. It doesn't matter. And he just goes blap, 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 and just starts going through stuff.
And we were talking about it, and I was curious because we were kind of towards the end of the game. Junior, you had the option. You could have pulled the Inceptor over and revived him. You had the choice. You're like, am I going to bring back a Blade Guard and get it done in combat as a Blood Angel? Probably the no-brainer. Or do you bring back the Inceptor? I'm like, man, maybe do you bring back the Inceptor and just YOLO it with an overcharge because you're not dealing the damage or
so
whatever.
The overcharge doesn't matter there because I'm strength 7.
Right, but neither does the 2 damage from the Blade Guard, I guess. Yeah,
so you would have just... I think the Inceptor would have been the good call.
Yeah, but the Blade Guard get more attacks.
Right.
So with the Inceptor, it's 2d3 shots, and I rolled 4.
Yeah.
So 4 attacks versus 5.
Right.
Melee attacks.
You're going with the guaranteed.
Yeah.
You're just
And
pressing
either way,
statistics.
Yeah. And either way, I'm wounding on 3s anyway, and putting him on his invuln. So I thought the Blade Guard was a better option there. Plus, had I killed that Death Shroud.
Yeah, that was Stranglehold. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. That was a lot of secondary
and then he
points.
doesn't get Stranglehold.
Yep. And
on the
then
back end. I lost by 5?
You lost by 6.
6?
That would have.
5.
I think it was.
That's what we said.
Yeah.
I lost by 5.
I think all of us have been struggling
that
in
right
that.
there.
That's the game.
That's a 6-point swing.
Right. Yeah, that one guy was clutch. Now let's talk about this. I want to roll into the next thing. I mean, so in the initial point of the game, you guys both had similar battle plans. I think that one thing that really stuck out to me after you guys both were walked out and had gave your early initial interviews is one particular differentiating secondary pick between you both, and that was you picking Oaths and you picking Assassinate. Now, I was talking about that, and I was like, dude, in the initial workup to this, it was in a scenario where you both had a similar game plan in your initial interviews. It's funny, if you go back and listen to this, you guys both said almost the same thing. You're like, I'm going to chill here. I'm going to get my 10 points on banners. You're like, I'm going to take Stranglehold, And then his was like, I'm going to do oaths because that makes sense. And then you were like, he's going to have to come to me, and then I'm going to get his characters. And I was like, okay. I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, if you think Junior's just going to send his characters out there, and I was like, this game is done. I was like, this is going to be a hard one because I think that if it's done right, Daniel's not going to be able to capitalize on almost any points on that. And Junior, just for existing as a Marine with oaths, oaths just falls in line with your battle plan. You're going to be killing stuff. You're going to be controlling the board. You're not falling back because you have no fear. I was like, dude, if they both do the same thing, Junior just wins, on oaths. Because I'm like, you're going to do the same exact thing, and that's just the way it's going to roll. I was like, dude, Daniel, if he doesn't perceive this early on, is going to be in a really rough spot. Because if they're both banking the same mission, same game plan kind of, and they're both kind of going to be playing cagey in the beginning, that gap is going to slip away before you can realize it. And then I was like, it's going to be that, So I was like, so in the initial, that was one interesting thing. Did you guys feel that in the beginning? What did you think about that? Junior, I mean, as a high level player and at the highest level, was that kind of your thought process going into this? Or
Yeah, absolutely. I knew I was going to try to keep my characters away and only commit them when I wanted to.
Right.
And then just another thing about failing to kill that stupid Death Shroud, he came and popped my Sanguinary Priest. That's another 3 points.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh god. Yeah, that was
so had that Death Shroud just melted away like he's supposed to, Daniel.
You told me to roll 6.
I did. That was my bad. That's another 3 points that he does not get from Assassinate for me hiding this little Sanguinary Priest the entire game.
That was that moment was insane. I knew, and I called it. If you guys go back and watch, I was like, dude, if this sergeant lives, that's gonna. I was like, ah.
You had said that, and at the time, I didn't understand what that meant.
I was like, oh my god, and it was gonna be either you were gonna smack that dude, and I was like, this is all pretty game defining, and I think it was only that game defining because of the Bellicor thing.
Yep.
And I was like, dude, this was 2 just super fulcrum moments that was like interesting. I was like, that's so super crazy.
Yeah.
Daniel,
-1 attack power. So there's a stratagem where you can basically, if you're within 3 inches of a Slanesh demon character, -1 attack.
Yep.
And for him, that's like, oh, no more shock assault. And that's really what I think what did it was all those extra attacks that he missed.
Right.
And Junior sits there and goes, I didn't know you could do that. And
demon strategy.
He was just like, it's like, well, now we know, right? And that's the important thing is whenever you fight Bellicor, if you have a lot of attacks coming in, I'm gonna make you -1.
Yeah.
And it's 1 CP.
And I feel like
very cheap.
The chaos demon stratagems really well, because I know that I've played you before in several tournaments, and you've caught me with some stuff that, I mean, if I'm honest, I mean, I'm not reading the demons book. I bet Junior's not reading the
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people bringing
bringing so it's like, dude, but since he has all the marks, you get access to all of those stratagems. Another thing that I thought was interesting was when you had 5 CP, you were sitting on those 5 CP, and you had the ability to not even have to leave it to chance. With the Poxwalkers, you could have just fought again and killed the Sanguinary Guard. I was like, why didn't he fight again? Or there was
so Bellicor was hit with the Whirlwind Launcher, so he was fighting last.
Right.
So the Poxwalkers had to kill the Sangard.
Well, I was also reading with Eric, and maybe Junior, you can answer this as well. It's funny because we did some research on the order of operations on the fighting. So when you're charging, and you both strike first, right? The player whose turn it is fights first.
Right.
Then on Stuck In, if you both fight in the normal order of Stuck In, then that's the opposite player's turn. And then when you both fight last, it goes back to the player whose turn it is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to completely avoid that. I didn't want the Sangard to have any opportunity to do any damage to Bellicor because I knew immediately next turn those Eradicators are probably going to kill him. So I need to at least try to mitigate that. And like I said, I had 5 CP. What's 2 CP at that point? If I'm generating approximately 2 per turn,
Right.
I'm going to get that back next turn.
Well, yeah, that's to lead back into your thought. I think that yeah, okay. I guess what I was getting at is you had the opportunity to swing another 5 or 6 attacks at those Sanguinary Guard, and there was only 7 of them total, and fight again, and then you would have got your 2 CP, or you elected to not do that. I'm kind of curious on the reasoning.
My guys weren't fight last. Only his were. So that's why.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but you had Paula Despair. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's not. I had the -1 to wound power on because I realized when I sent my list to Eric, I had that power still in. In my new list, I have the fight last one, but I couldn't change it because I already see that.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. We had discovered that he had
yeah.
Penumbral Curse. I was like,
Right.
dude, you could just make him fight last, or you don't even have to deal with that if
Yeah.
you just kill them all now. Yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, I guess that makes sense. The Poxwalkers was probably a cheaper investment too for 2 CP. I definitely think that makes
Fight
sense.
again is 3 CP, so I wanted to try and save it there.
Yeah.
I love the Harbinger strat because nobody knows about that combo really outside of Death Guard players. So I'll roll up to a table. It's like, all right, 20 poxwalkers, right? All right, here's 40 attacks. 6 do mortal wounds. Rerolling all my hits. Okay, so Junior knows, right?
Yeah.
But not a lot of people really know, and sometimes people will just kind of walk into
So you're
it.
playing Dicehammer.
Yes. Keith's in the chat. He knows. Coming for you, Keith.
Got him.
Right on. So, I mean, yeah, super close game, dude. All of these Warmaster games are like always sub 10
So
points.
close.
They're marginal. Final thoughts, man. I mean, interesting games. Yeah, final thoughts on the game from each of you guys. I mean, that was close.
I think that this game really encapsulates how Junior and I play each other. It's very, very close. It is but it's also very friendly. It's fun. We're just, talking smack. We're saying, hey, man, probably shouldn't do that. Maybe we'll talk it out
Yeah,
a
it was
little
definitely
bit.
you guys. I mean, and that's how it should be. That's kind of the reason we play the game is to have fun and
Yeah.
socialize with the person we like more than anything else.
Yeah.
I don't sit here and just sit across from you and be like, man, this really sucks. I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. And you guys are also. I definitely noticed where like Junior had helped you like correct a little movement. He's like
Moving
now you're
swords,
the same thing, thing like that. And no one's trying to. I mean,
Yeah.
you understand what your opponent's trying to do, and we're not sitting here. It's competitive,
Yeah.
but also in the spirit of
Yeah.
You want to win against your player at their best, and you don't want to.
I don't want to say, oh, man, I beat you because you're 6.01 inches outside of the center of the board. Like, that's just such a feel bad.
So-
Move him because that's your intention, right? His intention is to not have his big axe sticking out for his Sangard so then the dudes can just mow him down.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not his intention.
Yeah, and that's one of the things for the guys in chat. You notice at the highest level here, that's one big thing that we try to push a lot. Everybody tries to push
Respect
is-
for each other. Oh, so I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
we try to push the
That was not
sportsmanship and just the good spirit and understanding that this is a communal thing as well. So yeah, these guys are exemplars of that, and it's always awesome. I mean, I personally feel like I'm laughing my A off every time I'm playing with Junior. Every time I'm playing with Daniel, I'm just talking smack to him the whole time. Playfully, of course. you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Well,
Top table smack.
all right. Well, so Daniel, you're moving on, man. You got your third shot coming up. Junior, man, one hell of a fight. I mean, I'm sure we're going to see you on here again. This thing rotates through. I think we're going to pop over to Eric here so we can talk about signing up for all the guys that are in chat and stuff like here remaining.
And thanks
Yeah.
for commentating, guys. It's been wonderful.
Thanks, guys, for
All
coming
right.
in. Thanks for
Thanks
playing.
for the
It's been
players.
great games. Yeah, and thank you, Stephen, for coming in and commentating today. Man, my brain is just messed up right now.
So much high-level play. My brain's
Exactly.
stewed.
It's too much math. Yeah, so we've got the link up on the screen right now. This QR code. Scan that. Get on our form. Sign up today. You, too, can be in the Warmaster Challenge. That's all we have for tonight. Until next time,